McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes, speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, January 26th, 2021. Is it Aaron Rodgers Tuesday or not? Great question. We do not know. I said I would give an update on whether or not Aaron Rodgers will be joining us today. There was no update to be had, so there was no update to give. We have no idea, but we do know we have the new head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, Brandon Staley, joining us in about 22 minutes. Woo. Can't wait to chat with him. He used the word a gate in his press conference. It was a big deal, which, by the way, a gate tie is...
It's a common rock formation.
Of course it is. Big analytics guy. He moves from the Rams to the Chargers as a head coach. Can't wait to hear what he's got to say about, things happening in the NFL, the future of the Chargers, Justin Herbert. They got a guy. How you going to do it moving forward? Let's go. Also, Michael Chandler, the fighter from the United States of America. Had an American flag around him. He was a wrestler at Missouri, I believe. And this past weekend, he made his UFC debut after 11 years in Bellator. Made his UFC debut and hit the guy with a jab to the sternum, overhand right to knock him out.
Whoa.
By the way, a move that I frequent in the Oculus Arena. I'm a big fan of this guy. He cut a promo after the win, reminiscent a la Ric Flair at the Royal Rumble with a tear in my eye. This is the greatest day. He didn't do the tear in my eye, but he cut a promo afterwards. I did a backflip off the top of the cage. He seems to be a guy. We got a guy joining us today. Pumped for that. He called out Khabib. Khabib?
Yep. Khabib.
Yep.
Habib?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Connor?
Yep.
Poirier?
Yep.
And everybody in the light heavyweight division, or 155, whatever it is, what is it, lightweight? Lightweight. I know fighting.
Hell yeah.
We'll talk about it. I can't wait to chat with him. That's in the second hour. And then in the third hour, AJ Hawk will definitely be joining us.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Will we be joined by anybody else? TBD. At some point, hopefully today, big question marks there, though. Don't want to. Nope. We got to keep those on there.
Yeah,
this is not a tease or anything like that. This is real life. This is inflection on that last thing going.
Rodgers?
There's a real. Who knows? Who done it? Not us. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. We'll also chat with you. There's a lot of stuff happening in the sports world. Allegedly, the man who's potentially going to be joining us, we're not sure. That there is no indications that he is right now, but potentially, who knows, by the time comes joining us, alleged contract extension negotiations that are being popped up. Who knows who Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk, he's reporting that Aaron Rodgers potentially wants several things from the Packers. One thing he wants and deserves is a new contract. Okay. Maybe. We talked about this throughout the season. Mm-hmm. There was a couple times throughout the season where we mentioned, Aaron's going to be gone after this year. He's playing great football. And every single time, Ty would say, hey, can we wait for the season end? Mm-hmm. Right, Ty?
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, there was a little bit of a conspiracy fodder in the YouTube comment section yesterday that you made a comment about something, Brett Favre, I think. Yeah. And then we lost connection on YouTube. And then whenever we came back, you were gone.
Oh.
There was people saying I fired you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
by the way, that won't happen. First of all, that's not how I would operate. It wouldn't be like immediately go to commercial break.
Pack your bags.
Hey, by the way, don't ever fucking show up.
Get the fuck out. At least talk about a deep drive to left by Castellano before you get fired.
At Tone Diggs talking about old pal over there in Cincy.
Tom Brenneman.
There it is. But yeah, Ty is edited. How many podcasts at this point?
500 plus.
500 plus podcasts. There was often nights where Ty did not sleep because he was trying to post something. If you think Ty saying something about Brett Favre is going to get him fired. You're out of your goddamn mind at this point, and have a little bit more respect for the respect that I have for Ty, for those that were talking about that. That was a real thing that was being chatted about.
Yeah, I was not privy to that, and I didn't get any tweets or anything, so that's...
No, I was in the
YouTube. So
yeah, I was in the
okay.
YouTube.
Right,
Billy Tubes is the one that brought that up to me. He said, by the way, new conspiracy on the Tubes. You fired Ty during a commercial break. And I was like, I did? Why'd they say that? And then he said, well, we lost connection and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. But anyways, during the season, we said, Aaron Rodgers is gone after this year because they drafted Jordan Love. They're pushing him out. He's having his best year. Here we go. And we got quarterbacks moving. He's gone. And Ty would always say, let's wait till the end of the season. Then as you continue to watch the season go, how it went with how awesome it was going for the Packers. By the way, there's only one team that doesn't have a terrible ending to the season. I mean, it is a very true thing. But as it was going, it was awesome. Here we are. And we thought, you know what? Hey, you can make it right. Just give him a 7-8 year deal.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and lock him up as a Packer.
$500 million.
Here you go. And we'll pay you until you want to retire. And then when you retire, we'll just kind of see you later. It's all good. And that was a conversation we had a couple of weeks. We're like, I'll just give him a long-term deal. And now Florio's reporting that sources are telling him, which who knows who those sources could potentially be. Everybody has their sources. And I would assume people like Florio aren't putting things out if they hadn't heard it, right? Like that's not something going on. So maybe it is like Aaron's like, and maybe even the Packers are like, hey, let's go ahead and lock this thing up long term. Although the conversation yesterday was awesome to talk about him walking in there and saying, I ain't never playing another fucking snap here.
I mean, we said it yesterday, and people are still saying, like, hey, stop spinning that. I mean, I don't think he's leaving. We
said it before every single conversation yesterday.
Exactly.
Nothing he said makes us think he's going to retire or leave the Packers. But if we're all talking about it, let's talk about it. We got to talk about it.
But yeah, a lot of the stuff I read said that he doesn't want to be in like a lame duck situation in 2021. I mean, the guy obviously deserves, I think they should have to. They should, he can get that like, okay, either you're going to re-up with me and we're going to move on. We're going to get back to the Super Bowl, or like, let's put a clock on this thing and let me get out of here and go pursue it somewhere else.
Interesting, this is all happening because he said there's a lot of futures that are uncertain, myself included. That could be about anything, by the way.
Well, there's a lot of guys on the team, too, that probably aren't going to be around next year.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of conversation to be had that we have had. But we hope that Aaron Rodgers does whatever the hell Aaron Rodgers wants to do.
Absolutely.
At Boston Connor, Michael Lombardi chatted with us yesterday on Hammer Don, which is our gambling podcast that we do out of this studio. Diggs Gumpy, myself, and Michael Lombardi, formerly Cleveland Browns GM and coaching consultant or advisor or whatever for the New England Patriots for a long time. He has 2 kids that coach in the NFL. I mean, a guy, he's written books, Gridiron Genius. Incredible football mind. Whenever you listen to him talk, it's awesome. He knows Walsh, he knows Davis, he knows Belichick, he knows everybody, and his last name is Lombardi. I mean, listening to him chat about football is incredible. Yesterday, he was like, "Hey, do not rule out the Patriots in the Matthew Stafford game. Ooh. They got the cap space. They need a quarterback." And then I think the question was brought to him like, "Yeah, but with who? Like, who's he going to go there for?" Then he mentioned a couple other players. He's like, "Well, how about Allen Robinson, Hunter Henry? How do you feel all of a sudden?" Julian Edmonds out there. How do you feel about that all of a sudden? Harry. And then as a Patriot fan, you have to think N'Keal Harry.
Yeah. Come on.
3rd, 4th year is the best year.
Yep, but that's what they say. Matthew Stafford's going to be an Indianapolis Colt, but the thought of him potentially going to the Patriots is something that I had no idea about. As a Patriot fan, that has to feel good knowing that somebody who probably has a pretty good feel for what's potentially going to happen in places saying, hey, they're going to be in the quarterback market, just like Chicago's going to be. Mm-hmm. New England's going to be in the market big, and they're going to have cap space. Yeah. What are they going to do? Who are they going to go? And are the Patriots dead forever, or are they one missing piece away from maybe becoming relevant again? We're one missing piece away. I mean, Matt Patricia's going to butter himself up, go on over to the Ford House, and he's going to get Matt Stafford. I'm sorry to you and your Colts, but Carl Wentz is coming up from Philly, or coming over from Philly,
no, he's not.
Wherever the hell PA is, and he's putting on the blue and white, okay?
No, he's not.
Number 11 is going to look fantastic throwing to Mike Pittman, and Stafford's going to look fantastic handing the ball off to Damian Harris, and throwing deep balls to N'Keal Harry and Zubin Mehenti. Wow. See you in the Super Bowl.
Will you move your mic? The mic's so right at your chest.
Boy, it keeps dropping down. I don't know what it is.
It's just levels of stupidity weighing in.
Yeah, that's the
the truth. The more you talk, it just.
That is a real feeling, though. I have that with just Bill Belichick, and I think that's because the last 20 years has kind of like brainwashed me into thinking that if Bill Belichick does it, it's going to make sense. Like, even this year, they paid Cam Newton but next to nothing. He threw 5 touchdowns.
8, excuse me.
Going into last week, he had 5 touchdowns.
6, excuse me.
Exactly. Aaron threw 5, I think, in one game or whatever. But the thought of that team potentially being like this year, I didn't want to openly pick against them because it was like, Belichick, that old guy up in the sky, Ernie, and McDaniels will be able to figure something out over here. And then now, if they get a stud quarterback, there's going to be a lot out there. I mean, not that Darnold is going to get traded from the Jets to the Patriots, but Carson Wentz maybe goes up there to New England. I mean, there's a guy that could potentially really fit in, want to buy in. Thanks for having me up here. Last year, you guys paid Cam Newton $1 million. You didn't even talk about Stidham again. Even as the season went on, I wasn't playing great, or Cam Newton wasn't playing great, and they didn't even talk about bringing Stidham in to start. I mean, there wasn't even a conversation about that. Carson, you down there in Philly, you threw a couple picks early, played some terrible football? They were calling for your backup immediately. Yeah. We don't do that up here in New England. No. Carson Wentz goes to New England. That makes a lot of sense, especially if they're going to be in the quarterback market. Let's get Carson up to New England and see if we really want Carson's, career to have a fairness to it, because he's been playing in a stadium with a statue of his backup outside.
An ex-coach now.
And an ex-coach out there, who didn't like him or whatever. Should we not be wishing for him to go to, statistically, historically, the best coach of all time, Bill Belichick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get him up there. Go and bring Stafford down to the Colts. Yep. Okay, no big deal. Matthew Stafford comes to the Colts. Send Carson Wentz up to New England. Let Bill kind of give Carson Wentz that feeling that he should have, and let's all move forward. I think that's a good idea. And Schefter's saying there's potentially 18 new quarterbacks next year. 18 new quarterbacks in different phases or in different places next year. That is insane. Carson Wentz with the Patriots seems like one that's potentially going to happen.
Look, I like Carl Wentz, but there are no Mallards in Massachusetts, and I want him to be happy before anything. And that's why when he comes back to Indianapolis and him and Frank Reich can sit in a church for 15 hours, talk it out, and then they can go ahead and, maybe win the division. Maybe beat the Titans, and Wentz can restore glory to Indiana once again.
Listen, Carson Wentz is an unbelievable football player. Yeah. That's why I, as a fan, kind of want to see him with Bill Belichick up there. Get him up there. Get him up there. Get Carson Wentz up there. And although there might not be Mallards, I'm sure there's something for him to fucking hunt up there.
There's plenty of game up there.
He doesn't love the pheasant hunting or the quail hunting. And that's all we got.
I don't even know what a quail is.
That's all we got.
The thing about it is
overpopulated in this area.
That's where Carson needs to go. That's where he needs to go.
He needs to come right here. He needs to come home to Frank. Come back to Frank.
This stinks for the Eagles. Okay? This absolutely stinks for the Eagles. Carson Wentz, I guess they're keeping him right. That was the entire move. That's why they got rid of Doug, because they wanted to keep Carson. So Jalen's potentially traded. Who's going to trade for Jalen and give him any pick that's worthy whenever you know, okay, Deshaun Watson's out there. Matthew Stafford's out there. There's going to be, they said 10 other quarterbacks that are going to be potentially on the move. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there. This is going to be insane. Just like last offseason, obviously, there was Tom Brady moving, and Phillip Rivers was moving, and Drew Brees was potentially retiring. Then he was canceled. Then he was back. There was so much movement in the quarterback position. It started to feel a little bit like the NBA, right? The NBA, the stars kind of control the destiny. They control the storyline, and they control who's good and who isn't good. I mean, there are some players that will stay, obviously, in a team that didn't get completely built around them to potentially go get a championship, knowing that when it's all said and done, they're going to be judged by how many championships they win. So it's almost an incentive for the star players to go places where other guys are. Although they get mocked for it, it's like, well, what do you want us to do? If it's about winning, there's an easy way to win, and there's an incredibly impossible way to win. And it feels like the easy way to win, to at least be in a conversation, is to kind of join forces in places. And by the way, I would assume the NBA thinks it's good. Now, the ratings, the traditional Nielsen ratings haven't been great, but I think more people are consuming NBA content. They're going to have to figure out how to fucking make money off of that for sure. But it feels like now with the NBA, the way guys move and everything like that, it's always big names that happen. And the trade block is always active. The NFL is slowly becoming that, and I am here for it. Hey, if we get a chance to talk about shit like, now granted, there's going to be people that hate that. There is people that are going to hate it. Don't want it. What's wrong with building your team and staying loyal or whatever? And by the way, I respect what you're talking about. Okay, I only played for one team, retired. I understand that. But from a outsider talking about a sport not an outsider, but somebody that's not in the league, talking about a sport that got 47 million viewers for its NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Like, hey, in the offseason, if a couple of those stars that, I'm not saying in that particular game, although Tom Brady was a free agent, but if some of these people that are getting 50 million people to watch them, 45 million people to watch them, potentially want to move a little bit, so there's like a little bit of action and maybe teams getting built and super teams being built and getting a chance to see things that are happening like in Kansas City and stuff like that, I'm here for it. And I think the parity of the NFL will remain, although if you look over the last 25 years, there hasn't been much parity if you really look at who's done it and who hasn't. But normally the games are all pretty competitive, which I don't think will ever change in the NFL. But I don't mind guys potentially picking spots on where they want to go. I think it's good for the game, and I think it's only going to happen more often. And the people that are going to lose out are the general managers who think they put an entire good team together, and then all of a sudden, you're not happy? Come on.
What do you mean?
Come on, our team stinks.
Sorry.
Our team stinks now.
Good for the game. Great for us.
Great for us. For us in particular, as a very selfish statement. Great for the show.
But for you guys as fans, I feel bad. I mean, Bears, Colts, Patriots, Packers, Lions. You guys don't know what your quarterback situation is going to be. Here I am, 2 potential first-round future Hall of Fame quarterbacks on the Steelers roster. Pretty awesome.
Who?
Ben Roethlisberger, Dewey Haskins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look out.
I feel bad for you.
I forgot Dwayne Haskins came in there. $850,000 deal, by the way. No incentives. Let's go ahead and see how this plays out. Futures deal. I'm excited to see how that guy, incredibly talented, obviously. Urban Meyer commented about how talented he was in all of his years of coaching, by the way, whenever he did his press conference in Jacksonville, a week or two after Dewey was cut or whatever. I mean, so the guy, tremendous talent, interesting decision-making. Maybe Tomlin's the guy to turn that whole thing around. Maybe not. They just promoted from within.
Yeah.
Matt Canada? Canada's the new offense coordinator, so they're going to be running the same system, basically. Here we go. Steelers doing the same thing they always do. They always win games, though, because that's what Tomlin does. Will they get back to the Super Bowl, though? And I saw you lobbying for Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback on the internet with 2 very poorly put together Photoshops. But I saw you lobbying. By the way, I'm a big fan of the internet just becoming very cool with poor Photoshop.
Yes.
It has been a run now. There was one, I saw somebody put a little square head on top of somebody else's. I mean, it was awesome. The internet is kind of loosening up the expectations of Photoshop, and I'm here for it, by the way.
I have to kind of do a little bit of a balancing act because, it would be fucking awesome to have Rodgers or Stafford, but I know that's not going to happen, so I have to pump the fires on the quarterbacks that we do.
Yeah,
have.
Ben Roethlisberger, we'll hold that against you, and who knows how next year is going to end up with that.
Pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
Boy, Tony.
Pretty good.
That's good.
People spend hours doing that Photoshopping. Yeah. It is such a diligent work.
Oh, yeah, meticulous.
And I want to let you know, we appreciate what you have done for the internet. The jersey swaps and the things like that, all the way down to what seems to be like a 16th of a centimeter all the way around there. And it looks unbelievable. For instance, this is very hard, but I think the internet is everybody's trying to get into that game. And they're all taking some shortcuts, I think. And I don't know if they put as much effort in as you graphic designers do.
Probably not.
But I want to let you know, your work will not go unrecognized, but it does feel like the Photoshop game is about to get flooded with people. And there's a lot of people that are like, all right, I'm done with trying to figure out how to do this. I'm gonna put this over there on the Instagram story. I'm gonna screenshot it afterward, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move forward.
Yeah, I just want to be fuel the jet first to market. That's the game plan there.
At Viva Lazito, your poll for today, please.
Yep. Who will finish with more Super Bowl appearances? We have Patrick Mahomes last, 27%, and Tom Brady, 73%.
I like you said he's last because he's also second, depending on how you look.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
In a 2-horse race, you can be silver medalist and last place, which is something to think about because in this particular conversation, both these guys are winners. Both these guys are winners.
That's right.
All right, we'll see how that pans out. At Viva Lazito, go ahead and promote the vote. We have to get to a break. New head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, Brandon Staley, will be joining us. Woo! This man's only been coaching for 15 years. It's a long-ass time now that I think about it. 15 years he's been coaching. Just got his head coaching opportunity in the NFL. How will it go knowing you got a quarterback, you got a roster? How's it going to go in the new stadium? We'll talk to Brandon Staley on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Sirius XM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. I'm still trying to prove myself. This is my fucking guy right here, though. Yeah. Oh, boy. Come on. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, see? Let's go. Oh. Oh, my God. No. What, did you tell your computer thing that you're 7 foot tall? Yeah. Oh, what? Oh no! Come on! Get up! Go fight for this one. He had only had 4 punches on. Get up! Woo! Let's go. Thank you. Gotta answer the bell, see? Let's go. His hand's gonna lose big hit. Okay, this guy does have grit. Let's win. Let's go! Big win. Chest going crazy. Woo! That was the toughest fight I've ever seen. That was holy shit. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. I'm rewatching the history of that last hit. Vicious right hook.
God damn it! Oh my God.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Shout out to the Wave Junkies with Up in Smoke, this particular beat we're playing here. Normally play Wave Junkie stuff during the commercial and don't get a chance to say what it is. They've helped us out immensely during this. Shout out to them for being independent music who doesn't give us a strike and try to take down our business.
No.
That's always a tough day whenever that happens.
Not the wave junkies.
It'll be people you know, too.
Yeah.
It's tough.
They'll put their guitar down, get their axe out, and try to chop down your business.
At least you thought you knew.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Tuesday, January 26th, we're being joined now by a man who is a former Dayton Flyer quarterback, now the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, Coach Brandon Staley. Attaboy, Coach. How you doing?
Appreciate you. Oh, Flyer Pride. I love the Flyer Pride shout out.
Hey, Dayton's like 90 minutes from here. It's not that far. It's over there, West Ohio. I respect the fact you went over there. I think you won 16 and 5 as a quarterback.
16-5. Yep, we had a good run.
Wow. Hey, that's not bad.
I remember all 5 losses way too well. So,
what type of offense was it?
Pat, it was kind of like pre-spread, like right before like everything went to the shotgun and everyone started spreading it out. We were more of a play action, option type team, but more from quarterback under. So, we were good though. We had a good offense, that's for sure.
So you were like an old school pro style quarterback out there.
Yeah, I wish the way that people play now would have suited my game a lot better.
You could sling that thing.
I was more of a point guard, I didn't have I was pretty medium arm strength, Pat, pretty medium, but, heady, tough. All the things that you say when you're not like that talented, so a lot of it, had to play with a lot of intangibles.
Okay. When did you know you were going to be a coach? While you were playing, immediately following it? Did a coach at Dayton say, hey, you should get into the coaching game? Because 15 years later here now, you're the head coach of an NFL team. How do you go from did somebody say you should do this, or did you always kind of, because you were heady, hardworking, lunch pail, first one in, last one out, coach's son, high motor? When did you realize okay, I should probably get into the coaching game?
Well, Pat, it really started, 7-year-old kid, wanted to be like my dad, got up early with him, drinking coffee, reading the sports page, as a young guy, and watching my dad he was a coach, my mom was a teacher, and, that's really where it began for me, and my parents are my heroes, and, that's just the truth. I was one of those kids that was a gym rat that always wanted to be around the game, and, I felt like, being a coach was going to be the route that fit me best, and I fell in love with that part of the game as a young kid. It, was that other side to competition, and I got to see it up close with my parents. And, so I think back then I was off to a good start, and, I've been working every day since to be as good as I could be.
Coach's son, gym rat, high motor. I mean, let's go, Coach. You go.
Hey.
Yeah, you were coaching in the SEC. I think you coach in college a bit. Then you obviously move into the NFL ranks. Was the NFL where you wanted to go? Because there's college coaches that live in the college world, and obviously we're seeing it now with a lot of college coaches trying to make the jump to the NFL. Urban Meyer being the most recent. Who knows how that'll go? But how did you see the football in college, and then you were like, I think I should make the jump to the NFL? How did that whole thing? How'd that process happen?
Yeah, Pat, I've always wanted to coach in the NFL. The way my brothers and I were raised is to go where the competition is, and we always thought, the NFL for me, that's where the best players in the world are. So that's always been a dream of mine. And I knew, there's obviously a process to get there. And I knew, that we were going to have to really work at it because, how challenging it is. That's what makes the NFL so special is very few people are in it. So, I've just been working at my game, for a long time. But when I got into coaching, being able to have that kind of double education where you're coaching in college, but you're kind of getting ready, hopefully to, have a chance to compete for a job in the NFL. And so my college journey was really trying to, engineer, being ready for the NFL. So always been a dream of mine to be right where I'm at. Everybody
has come out, by the way, that's awesome, but everybody has come out that has played for you and said, hey, this guy, great at connecting with his players. This guy can get a message across. And in the NFL, everybody knows it's about can you communicate with grown men? Can you communicate with them? Can you get them to rally? Can you get them to believe in something? Are you just a very transparent guy? Or are you what is your method, you think, of reaching your players as much as possible?
Yeah, Pat, I think, as you know, like one of the guys that I think coached you, Tom McMahon, he's told me a bunch of Pat McAfee stories that I'm armed with. So we could, but, the reason why you're laughing there is because your relationship with him, and I think, something that I learned at a young age from my parents is you got to listen to people and learn about them if you're going to be able to teach or lead them, It just can't be you talking at somebody. You got to go with someone. And the only way you're going to do that is if you're invested in them and one another. And, I've been fortunate to coach a lot of big names that a lot of people know about, Ramsey, AD, Khalil, Vaughn, Bradley Chubb, and I think at the hallmark of all those great players was a big time relationship, and I think, and then there's other names of a bunch of guys that no one knows about that has allowed me to get to this position right now. And so, relationships are the big part of, what we're going to build here with the Chargers. And once you get that right, then you get to the competition.
Okay, so you got a guy. You got a dude at quarterback. I mean, a lot of people were talking about the Chargers job being maybe the most desired job of this offseason when there was like 7 or 8 positions that are open because you have a guy. Everybody's waiting and trying to find a guy. Justin Herbert, 6th overall pick last year, had a season where everybody was like, this guy's a guy. Have you talked to him yet? Did you have to come in whenever you were interviewing for the job about like your ideas for Justin Herbert and how you like, did you have to do any of that during the whole process? And how is the relationship started with Justin Herbert?
Yeah, Pat, a whole bunch of that. I think a whole bunch of that went into the interview process. Is your vision for not only Justin, but how are you going to play on offense? And I think so much of what happens now, Pat, is you like subcontract the side of the ball, and it's not aligned with the vision of the team. And so me being a former quarterback and really my entire defensive background, being able to see the game through the lens of the quarterback, it's just been so instrumental in my own journey as a defensive coach. But, we want to uniquely shape our offense around Justin Herbert because he is unlike any other quarterback. And I think that when you study the great quarterbacks in the history of the game, they've had systems that have been built for them, and I think that that's what we're going to try and do with him. As you guys know, he's unique. I mean, this guy's 6'6", he can throw it, mobility, super sharp. I mean, mentally, got a great head on his shoulders. Command of his teammates, talking to the guys over the, this last week. I mean, just the presence that he already has within his team, which is so hard to create as a rookie, just all that good stuff. It's been amazing. I talked to Justin, when I got hired on my way back, to Thousand Oaks, I got to, connect with him on the phone. And then, on the way down to the press conference, my wife, Amy, and I FaceTimed him, and we just wanted him to know that, hey, listen, this is a big day for us, but, we want you to know that you're a big part of this. And then, it's been fun getting to also talk to his teammates, and the way they talk about him, so we're off to a great start. And as you know, Pat, you played with a stud. I mean, Andrew Luck, you go into the building as a player, Pat, and you got somebody like that, you feel like you can win every game.
Well, and people work a little harder. You do some extra reps. You don't miss anything in the film. You kind of in the off season, you're like, okay, we got a guy. Like we got a guy that can get us there. That's why whenever a Tom Brady's on the market, if you're a team that you should think about bringing them in or whatever. That kind of goes to that whole thing because if you get a guy on your team, everybody's better. And that's awesome. You guys got Herbert there. So you lived on the north side of LA whenever you were with the Rams, and the Chargers are on the south side of LA. So what's that, 7-hour trip? What is that? And are you
pre-pandemic 7 hours, pandemic about an hour and a half. So we've shrunk that down. Timing, like so much of life is timing. So I think the timing is right now. I've been doing a little bit of the back and forth, and it hasn't been too bad. But again, I am not confused about what LA really is. I'm ready for it. And hopefully I get down here before I have to deal with the 7-hour commute.
Yeah, I hope you do as well. That LA, they will park your ass.
Oh, yeah.
They do not.
Now listen, there's some underrated Pittsburgh traffic. I know that you're a Whippio guy. Yeah. There's some underrated bridge traffic coming in and out of that place. My brother lives in Mount Lebanon, so there's some sleep, some kind of sleepy traffic there now. Sneaky traffic.
I agree. And there's weather, okay, and there's only 2 ways in. You got a mountain you have to go through on one side and a mountain on the other side, and it all goes from like 4 lanes into 2. So it is problems. But LA, you can get caught for 6 hours and not even know it, not even run out of gas while sitting in the middle of traffic. It just comes. By the way, great weather. Okay, head coach is a great head coach of your team. Hey, new stadium, new everything. Is that any? Do you have any mind? I guess you were with the Rams, who had to kind of do the whole thing right there. But this is a brand new franchise basically in LA. Herbert's the quarterback. Chargers have this new stadium. It's a Los Angeles team now, no longer really any affiliation with San Diego except for the OG fans or whatever. Is there any thought process to that? Like, okay, this is a whole new, we're basically building a brand new organization here in Los Angeles.
I think the way that my family and I looked at it, Pat, and why we were so excited about it is the word that just kept coming to our mind was possibility. There's just a lot of possibility. And I think that the city of Los Angeles kind of represents that, one of the great, sports cities in the world, certainly in the United States. And I think where the Chargers were, Pat, just trying to, really embrace our past, and our present, and now where we can go. I've been able to talk to a lot of former players, former Charger greats, and I've been reaching out to people, and I think you hit it. There's an excitement, and I think there's an energy, and now we got to get started on the work. So very, very, very exciting time.
Great jerseys, too. The equipment managers.
Oh, yeah.
Great jerseys out there. Go ahead.
For the brand, man.
Hey, I got to get you a shirt. Tom wore one on Hard Knocks. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Literally, as soon as I was like, Tom Telesco is the man. What do you got, Diggs?
Coach, you were obviously with the Bears and then the Broncos, and you saw what was going around the league. Was it your goal to just get on McVay's staff? Because if you went there, you were going to get a head coaching job.
It happened, by the way. Congrats.
Yeah, you nailed it. Life is strategy. That's so much of marrying my wife, great strategy. Just total deception. Coaching with Sean McVay sure doesn't hurt, because the truth is that he's one of the best coaches in the game. And he's earned that mantle. In his 4 seasons as a head coach, it certainly helped my cause for sure.
Yeah, I mean, people were getting hired if they accidentally had lunch with him. Yeah. It was like 2 years ago. It was like, McVay, you ever meet him? You've been in his pool? You see his dog? You've been shirtless with him on Hard Knocks? Come get a head coaching gig. The defense over there. Now I will say this. Last year, Chargers were in it felt like every single game. It came down to the final couple minutes, and there seemed to be, I don't want to say some execution, but situational awareness, going out of bounds when we should try to keep the clock running, things like that. Is that because you have a young team, you think? And how do you address that type of stuff? Because we looked into you a little bit, we listened to you, you're a big analytics guy. I would assume, and by the way, that's not a knock. That is just you said, we need to use all the information we have to kind of do that whole thing. But is that something that you'll have to is that something you'll focus on in teaching? Okay, here, this is a situation, we have to go through this. How will you address that, which was a problem last year for the Chargers moving forward? And even if it wasn't the Chargers, it was just a team you were coaching. How do you address that?
Yeah, Pat, well, I think you just hit on a bunch of really important points of NFL football. I think the first thing you got to do is you got to bring your team together in all 3 phases of the game. You really got to connect the guys, and I think that being a teams guy.
Yeah.
Your entire football team has got to be aligned in how you're going to play each and every game. And there's so much to cover in an NFL game, or an NFL season. And I think that the more aligned you can be in all 3 phases, the better chance that you're going to, be in those situations where you got to have it. I call them GTHI, got to have it situations. So I think it really starts there, being a connected team. And I think where data analytics, all this stuff, this movement, where it's really helped is you creating a process to make a better decision. Not that you're going to make a perfect decision, but you're certainly going to have a better process in making them. And as you know, things are happening so quickly in an NFL game. The more people that you can have aligned, to create that, communication that's so vital in the moment, I think that's what we're going to try and create, is that communication, that process where, in these tight games, in these big situations, we can make decisions that we're proud of. Not that are perfect, but that we're proud of, that we can live with. And all we can do as a team is make sure each and every day, you understand what's at stake, and that you got that, and that's what I talk about, Pat, creating a competitive environment. You got to create a competitive environment so those situations aren't a big deal when you get to them. Every day with the Chargers is going to be engineered that way. and hopefully we'll be able to thrive.
That's awesome. Are you a hat guy, shorts guy? What do you wear at practice?
Yeah, I'm a shorts hoodie guy. I'm a hoodie. I kind of like to go with the longer sleeve, sweat it out. We're Cleveland, Ohio, Midwest. We're trying to, we're not going to forget where I came from now. So.
What are you on game day? Are you going to have the boys swagged out? Because Sean McVay has come and changed the game a little bit. You're on the Ram staff for what you wear on the sideline. LaFleur has done that a little bit. There are some old school looks on the sideline of the games, but I do believe that is your decision. What are the coaches looking like on the sideline? We wearing khakis? What do we got going on?
Khakis. Man, he's like my high school coach, Bob Ridley, man. Coach Rick. I don't know if we're going that direction, Pat. I want our guys to be ready to compete and coach some ball. I'm not really concerned about their attire.
Right.
I want our guys to, number one, be looking fresh in Chargers colors. Because again, it's all about the brand. But we are. I think we're going to be a pretty, casual, competitive outfit.
Casual competitive. That is an awesome. Hey, business casual competitive. I like that. The boys got a couple more questions for you, and we thank you for your time talking to Brandon Staley, new head coach of the Chargers. I'm gonna put you in a hypothetical. Okay, I'm gonna put you in a hypothetical here. All right, you guys make it to the AFC Championship. Congrats! You guys congratulations, coach. You guys made it to the AFC Championship. Okay, you guys are down 8. All right, you guys are down 8. You're on the 8-yard line going in. Your quarterback, Justin Herbert, just had an MVP career. There's about 2 minutes left. What do we do? It's 4th down. Are we kicking the field goal? Are we letting Herbert go out there and get there? Are we weighing the options? This is just a hypothetical, by the way. We just kind of drew it up out of nowhere. What is the idea there? And as an analytics guy, does that make you more aggressive, you think? Or does it make you more what do you think the analytics do in the decision-making process?
Number one, I just love this whole hypothetical. You just got your creativity right now, where your imagination is.
It's cold. It seems like it's cold, maybe. Yeah. It seems like it's a little cold,
I also like the fact that this is kind of like a rhetorical question because you already know the answer. So I think that's kind of a cool deal. But with a couple days of hindsight, number one, man, there's a bunch of different directions that you could go there. And I think I understand exactly why Matt did that. But I think this, Pat, if you believe in your quarterback, you believe in your guys, you got to give them a chance, to compete there. And then, if you don't get it, they got 92 yards to go. Certainly that's going to change their thought process offensively, being backed up, even with a guy like Tom Brady. Hopefully, your defense with 3 timeouts in the 2-minute, hopefully you can, get it done. If it doesn't go down for you, and then you still have field position on your side,
And hindsight's always 20/20. It's going to happen to you throughout your entire career. It's going to be us saying it, by the way. It's going to be like, hey, Coach Day, what the hell is he doing? Hindsight's always.
I told my wife, Amy, I said, get ready for it now. I said, get ready.
By the way, it's all fake. It's all bullshit. None of it's personal. It's all just, hey, that was a bad decision. But the analytics, though, do you think that will make you more aggressive? Because we see more people going for it on 4th and shorts instead of punting in the past. There's a lot more go for. Do you think that is the analytics side of things kind of showing its face?
I think the probability is big. I think that when you just talk, when you really study the way this movement has gone, I think, Pat, in the last 5 to 7 years, I think that really it boils down to, being a poker player, being a chess master, and you trying to, have the strategy that's literally going to give you a better chance, to win. And so, as that's becoming such a big part of the game. But then there's that feel, that context. You're on the field, living it, and there's that part of the game too that a lot of people don't understand, that it's a balance of both, right? If it was all one thing or another, everybody would be doing it. It's the balance that you got to create, and that's certainly what we're going to try and create here with the Chargers.
You a good card player? You play cards?
Never. But one of my favorite movies of all time is Rounder. That's like one of my, sort of staple movies. That's kind of like, I feel like defined me. So, Mike McD is one of, my favorite movies of all time. So,
Are you going to be a big talk guy, like night before game? Are we given a run through the wall type situation, or is it like, for instance, Jim Caldwell? I had an opportunity to play for a team that he was the head coach of. After games, it was business. We did business. That was when Peyton was quarterback and everything like that. And before the game, it was like business. But that was an older team, right? I think it was kind of like an older team. I was just kind of dropped in to that squad. And then Chuck, every once in a while, Chuck would have like a little bit of a feel on where the team's at, and he would give a little bit. What do you think you kind of go towards more in your career thus far, and how do you think that's going to go going forward?
I think the closer you get to the game, you got to make it a more peaceful situation for your players, because if you're doing it right during the week, I think the closer you get to the game, the more your players got to be at ease. So I'm not big on wearing the guys out as the game gets closer. To me, like when I was playing, and all the players that I've been fortunate to coach, they don't want to be worn out before this game. They want their mind clear to go compete. They got enough to worry about. And, it's kind of like, hey, coach, I got you. I love you. Leave me alone. So I think the closer, at least my philosophy is, hey, get your work done at the beginning of the week. And as you get to the end of the week, hey, man, this game's about the players, So I like to talk about peace a lot, I want it to be calm for these guys so they can go compete like crazy.
Well, that's, by the way, peace and happiness and positive is Aaron Rodgers' mantra this season. He just threw 40-some in less than 5 interception, by the way. Not a bad play over there in Los Angeles. Ty, what do you got?
Coach, Pat alluded to it earlier about how everyone was saying that the Chargers job was probably the best one going into the offseason, but there are a lot of people that were also saying it was maybe one of the least desirable with Patrick Mahomes in the division. Did he cross your mind at all when you were making the decision, or was it just like, again, there's a lot of possibility here?
Yeah, I think, you kind of hit it, but I think this, guys, when you're a competitor, you're not really worried about anybody else. You're just worried about your situation. I think great competitors aren't driven by what's going on with anybody else. And, today we all know in the city of Los Angeles, with Kobe Bryant, I think that guy embodies that more than anybody. Kobe Bryant wasn't worried about anybody. I know the guys that I look up to, Michael Jordan, Rafa Nadal, who's a kind of like, I love him. Like, they're not worried about the competition, and neither are we. We're just interested in getting this program started the right way and getting to know our guys and the people in this building. And I know that if we do that, then we can compete against anybody.
Well, that was awesome, by the way. Rest in peace, Kobe, 1 year ago today, by the way, absolute legend. Hey, that's an awesome mindset, by the way. I'm pretty excited to see what your team does over there. Like, I am very excited to see you and Tom seem like a great tag team. Tom Telesco. I mean, did you know him previously to this hiring? And what will that be like? What's the future look like for the way you two kind of do business together?
I think, I always respected him from afar. I worked at John Carroll, and he's kind of a John Carroll guy, but we had never met in person. I was in the Division 1 year in Denver when he was here, but, I just think we knew a lot of similar people, but had never really connected in person. But I had always, admired what he accomplished with the Colts, with Bill Polian, who's a guy that I have the utmost respect for, building that team over that many years, and just a Hall of Famer. Bill's a guy that I just have so much respect for. And then, you always, have respect for how somebody was trained. And so learning from him, and then being able to take, this team and the transition. If all you got to do is look at our team, the type of players we have, I think, and over his whole time here, being able to create a team that's competed, and certainly, all the guys that we have right now are a good example of his ability to evaluate. And, I'm really excited about that partnership, because he's a great man, as just the type of character that he has and the type of capacity, that's how you get it done in life, is you join up with people that have both of those things. And, we're excited to get going. Yeah,
Tom's awesome. He's the reason I made it in the NFL. I probably shouldn't have, so I'm very thankful for him. You play tennis? You talked about Rafa. You play tennis?
Yeah, huge tennis guy.
Ping pong?
One of my goals, maybe you could help me with it. I got to see this guy play before he gets done, So
you're the head coach of the Chargers, dude. You're going to be able to do whatever the hell you want. Yeah, don't you worry about that. I'm not going to help you with that. Yeah. You're the head coach of the Chargers, dude. Go watch him play. Go watch him play.
More people, man. like people are watching you now. I know you're like,
I know it's stupid, to be honest, how many people are watching at this point. I do not deserve it. We do not deserve it, but we're cool with it. But do you play ping pong?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen.
Send you an Oculus.
Like I played all the sports. I mean, I was one of these guys. My twin brother, my younger, we did it all. I mean, you name it, that's what we were doing. My parents were like, hey, get out and go compete, figure it out, learn. That's how we were kind of brought up.
I'm going to send you the Oculus. Okay, the Oculus. You don't have a lot of time right now. But, whenever everything slows down, we can play ping pong against each other. It's real in there. It's like a virtual reality game, and you play ping pong against people. I've been having a blast. You can buy your own, actually. You just became a head coach. Whenever you get it, let me know. Connor, what do you have?
Coach, when you were D coordinator with the Rams last year, you guys played the Seahawks 3 times, and DK Metcalf just came out and said they were too predictable on offense. Was that something you guys saw in film study and ultimately helped you guys win in the playoffs?
And does that happen on a regular basis in the NFL? It seems like that's happened a couple times now. That conversation's happening. Lamar came out and said that the other team was predicting them in the middle of the season. DK just came out and said something. Is that something that happens in the NFL, and how do you stop that from happening to your team?
Yeah, I think, guys, I think that number one, that DK Metcalf guy, man, he so defending him 3 times was a real pleasure. Very stressful. So his game is just taking off. So number one, a lot of respect for DK, but I think this, guys, I think it's so competitive in the league and games like that happen. I think that, what you got to be able to say going into a game is, hey, we're not going to let DK Metcalf take the top off this coverage. I mean, you got to decide in every game, how are you going to go down? And I know that we weren't going to go down with DK Metcalf, launching a 65-yard touchdown over our head. Like that wasn't, sort of our plan, So I just think that, I think it's tough in this league. And I think guys like DK, what he's going to discover is, like a Julio Jones and like a, Mike Evans, all these great players, they're going to be different ways that they got to, beat you, and with DK, he's so explosive. I think, most of the league is probably saying what we did. So
okay, got you.
Playing 3 times.
That happened. That was like such a compliment to T.Y. Hilton. When T.Y. became the guy that they were shifting coverages to after Reggie kind of left, I know it kind of sucked for T.Y. obviously because all of a sudden his game production went down for a couple and everybody's like, is T.Y. dead? And it's like, oh no, T.Y.'s the guy now. He's the guy that's getting covered. That's a big deal in the NFL. Excited to see what DK does. Also very excited to see what you do in Los Angeles. You've been awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Coach.
Thank you, Pat. It's been awesome.
Hey, go see the guy play. You're the head coach of the Chargers.
Hey, global pandemic, there are a lot of issues, but that is a goal of mine. We're like, I'm telling you, that goal of mine.
All right.
10-year anniversary coming up. Maybe we can get that done, Amy and I.
What are you going to wear? Are you going to wear the headband? Are you going to do the whole thing whenever you go out there?
See, I'm disappointed that he left like the cutoff and the capris. Like that's like the old Rafa. Like I kind of hope that at the end he goes back to it. Like that would be amazing because I feel like I've been with him the whole way. So
I will say you're the first diehard Rafa fan we've ever had on this show. Man, I'm appreciative of that. Hopefully we get you connected to him. We'll make some calls. We'll make some calls to the tennis community, Coach. Ladies and gentlemen, Brandon Staley. Thank you, Coach. Hello, Coach. Woo! Hey, he was really cool, dude.
Yeah.
It feels like he's like from our neighborhood. It feels like that's exactly who you're talking to. That was awesome. He said a lot there too, by the way. It wasn't just like canned answers.
No.
Tom Telesco, same thing. Appreciate that, dude. I like the Chargers a lot.
And he'd go for it on 4th down.
Did seem like he would go. Did seem like he said, you got faith in your guys. You got to put trust in them. I mean, as he was saying that, I was like, we all kind of felt that way. I'm happy you said
Let
that.
him compete,
He does want to build a competitive structure, and he'll be dressing casual competitive.
That's awesome.
I love that. That's like Pete Carroll's big thing, right? Compete. Music on during warm-ups. Who can warm up the best? Yeah. I assume there's different levels because he said he wants some peace still. Like, let's go ahead and let's relax a little bit. I like it. I wish I got a chance to see how he operates day to day in there. And I would assume now it's much different because he can't even talk to a lot of the operation, I assume, because they don't even know who's going to be back and Zoom calls and everything like that. I think the Chargers got a good one going on over there. What are they going to do with Goff on the other team in Los Angeles? Where's Matty Stafford going?
Indy.
New England.
Indianapolis. Carson Wentz going to New England. Deshaun Watson, where's he headed? Is he headed to New York? What's going to happen with Sam Darnold? Allegedly 18 different quarterbacks starting in new places next year. That's insanity. We'll talk about that and much more on the other side. And Mike Chandler from the UFC joins us. It's the Pat McAfee Show. You got 6 minutes. Why is football the greatest sport on earth? And do you think football is the greatest sport on earth? And why do you like football?
That's a really deep question there, Pat.
I know. I think I'd get a good answer out of you, though. Like, I think you'd be able to talk about it in a way that I think a lot of people haven't, because you've been at the pinnacle of it for so damn long and inside of it, and your brain is a pretty fantastic one. We've learned here over the last few weeks, obviously. Last few weeks, that's it. That's all the time we've learned that.
I think it's the greatest sport in the world for one main reason. It is a true team sport where it is damn near impossible for one person to dominate an entire game. If you look at other team sports, basketball with 5 guys on the court, I think you've seen multiple players over the years. Maybe one player, maybe 1 or 2 players on a squad be able to dominate and win championships. Baseball, you can have a dominant pitcher and win championships. Soccer, you can have a dominant forward and or goalie. That seems to be a little more of a team sport, but you don't have 11 players engaged at the same time on every play. It is truly a sport reliant on every player on the field to do their job in order to be successful. And I think that's why at times, you know, certain star players can get maybe too much credit and maybe too much blame on the flip side, because it does take so many players at the same time in 3 phases to win football games. And I think that's the beauty and the draw of our sport, is that something new happens all the time, because you are literally dealing with 11 humans on the field at one time who all have lives outside of football, and there's distractions, there's a reliance on coaching, there's a reliance on preparation, there's a reliance on diet and performance. I just think there's so many facets to it that you see something new every single week, and I think that's the beauty in our game. When it comes to the love that I have for it, it's rooted, and I think like any player who's played for a long time, the love is not just about our sport, it's about competition. And I think there's nothing in the world for me that fills that need and that hole I have like competition. I think players who played for a long time at a high level, you have that need to be satiated competitively, and it's a love of going out there and going against guys and being in an environment where you know that nothing is guaranteed. And that's why at times I've taken umbrage to people saying that it's easy, because it's not easy. It's never easy. And I think that's the beauty in our game, is that you see things new every single week. It's never easy. And your only thing you're guaranteed is the ability to compete. I love that aspect of it. I love competing. I love going out there and harnessing the fear of failure, where I think so many people who maybe don't love football as much, the root of that is a deep fear of failure, that you might go out there and your best might not be good enough, and that's not okay with you.
There's a grown man with face paint on. So you're Big Nut.
I am, and you're Little Nut.
Well, I've had a few of those in my life. Hey, I'll tell you what, Big Nut. I hope to find you one day on my wedding night. Big Nut!
Little Nut!
You did a great job, too. The lines are straight. No DUI problem there. You're really doing a great job here, sir. Hey, Big Nut, I love everything you're about, bud.
Because we are going to win the game!
He just spit in my mouth while saying that.
The most likely team to make the college football playoff is the team that is in Columbus.
He said khakis are way too close to that team from up north. If you don't put black pants on right now, you're going to get booed out of Columbus. Yeah. So I went with the black. Makes me look thin. And whenever I say 2 letters, the place goes crazy. OH! Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie George. That offense, though, led by Justin Fields. He has 41 touchdowns accounted for, only 1 turnover. I don't know how he isn't the Heisman favorite right now.
Well, he certainly has a chance to make a stick at that today, certainly next week.
He's supposed to be in Penn State native Lion. And Mike McQuarrie told me I wasn't Penn State material. Okay, Herbie was your quarterback. He was a senior. You were a freshman.
Big
What was he
number
like
four.
as a teammate?
Oh, he was great, man. Big shoulder pads. Kurt could run for days back in the day. Back in the day.
We have a guy that can break every single bone in my body. Stipe, how you doing, boss man? They're down to 6-1. She wants to flex on the gram. He says, lady, we are getting slaughtered by the Pittsburgh Penguins. No.
Do I do a chair? I thought I need to do this.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back on this beautiful Tuesday, January 26, 2021, years after zero. Hour 2 will begin immediately following the beat drop from Twine. There it is. Here we go. In the first hour, we got a chance to talk to head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, Brandon Staley, formerly the quarterback for the Dayton Flyers. Has a twin brother, I believe, and either a younger or older brother. He went outside and he competed all day. He said he wants to have a competitive culture built at the Chargers. He said he'll be a guy that's not rah-rah, kind of calm. He wants peace before the game. Hey, here we go. Seems to relate to his players very well. He rattled off about 10 players that are all legends that he said he's coached and have all come out and said, hey, we're big fans of this guy. I think the Chargers should be rather pumped with who they have. They have a quarterback in Justin Herbert. They're not going to be looking to trade him away at all. They're actually said they're going to be building around him. They're even creating an offense around Justin Herbert in Los Angeles. That seems like that's going to be a good move. Will other teams do the same for their quarterback? Will quarterbacks be on the move? What will happen? Nobody knows. We exit football talk to get to combat conversation. Ooh. Feels pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is a man on Saturday night that knocked another man out cold. A man that jumped up on top of the cage and did a backflip off of that thing in celebration, and then following being crowned the winner, cut a promo afterwards calling out every other person in his division. He spent 11 years at Bellator. His first fight in the UFC, he knocks a man out. The new king of the division, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Chandler.
What's up?
Hey, your promo was fantastic. You know that. I know that. I'm pumped you delivered it, though, whenever you're a little bit tired, and in beautiful fashion, Michael.
Thank you. Yeah, you never quite know how those things are going to come out, man. It's you just get done with the craziest roller coaster of your life. For me, even more so because it was my first fight in the UFC, the biggest stage I could ever ask for, a co-main event of a Conor McGregor pay-per-view, and had to make it happen, and we did.
Hey, you delivered not only in the fight, but in the promo. It hit the internet running, by the way, as soon as it gets going. Anytime somebody can do that, especially with what you're talking about, the roller coaster of emotion, to bring it all back together and put together a very coherent, very entertaining, very direct shot at a lot of people is a beautiful thing, all the while draped in the American flag. Congrats on a magical moment. I assume you'll never forget it. 11 years in Bellator, is that right? I was talking to Ariel Helwani this morning. He'll be joining the show on Friday, by the way. Just everything in his life has crashed. The Buffalo Bills lost, Conor lost after a sit-down interview with him. Yep. I mean, that's a whole conversation. But I was talking with him. He said that whenever you became a free agent in the fight game, it was a big deal because normally guys don't become free agents. And there was places that were thinking about getting you. You come to the UFC. Was the dream all along to get to the UFC? Because normally people go UFC, Bellator, right? I don't think I know everything. To come up through from Strikeforce through Bellator to get to UFC, this long journey, was this always the goal? And did you ever give up and think that it wasn't going to happen?
Yeah, I guess it was more like we alluded to again. It was kind of an emotional roller coaster. I had a phenomenal career with Bellator, very comfortable, very predictable. Truthfully, I was one of the faces of Bellator, if not the face of Bellator. I was kind of their homegrown talent, their indispensable asset. And that's what I always tried to make myself. Number one, put on great performances. Number two, be a great employee. And things always work out well. It just got to the point where I always thought about the 40-year-old me, the 45-year-old me when I'm done and retired. And I just pictured myself laying my head on what would feel like a cinder block every single night if I did not make that jump to the UFC and test myself against the cream of the crop, the highest level guys, the best guys in the world, and give myself the opportunity to become the number one lightweight on the planet, which I truly believe that I am. But it was just lip service unless I actually made the jump. So had the opportunity to fight out my contract, did fight out my contract, had offers from 4 organizations, all the major organizations. Obviously, the UFC was where I wanted to be because you can't just say you're the best lightweight in the world. You got to go out there and prove it. So that's what I did. September, I signed. October, I had the backup for the world title fight right away because a couple guys said no. And then finally we got the fight with Dan Hooker, who was the number 6 lightweight in the world. Now I've made stake in my claim, like you said, called everybody out, put everybody on notice.
It was awesome.
We're heading to the top in 2021.
It was awesome. Is the roster at UFC in the lightweight division one of the reasons why, obviously, you had to pick UFC, not only because it's UFC, but that roster is littered with talent, right? I mean, I just watched Cormier and Ariel Helwani. They put something out on Ariel Helwani's Instagram where basically Cormier was designing what he thought should be a tournament almost for the title or the vacated title or whatever. They're going to do that with that whole thing. I mean, that is just in your promo alone, Poirier, Conor McGregor, Khabib, if he comes and fights for his 30th fight, you compliment him in your promo too, so you obviously have a lot of respect for him and his style and everything like that. But I mean, that is a big ticket. Those are numerous big ticket fights. That had to have gone into your mind. And now that you're going to get those, does that change anything? Does that change anything about how you train at this point? Do you know your exact system on how you'll fight or anything? Like, what's the process behind that?
Yeah, so essentially, kind of like I alluded to, Bellator is a phenomenal organization, but they don't have the depth. You're not considered the best lightweight in the world if you are the Bellator world champion. I knew I needed to come over to the UFC. I knew it was a murderer's row. It is the deepest division in the world, in the UFC. It's the most electrified, most hyped up, most energized division, obviously anchored by Conor McGregor, the biggest combat sports superstar on the planet. And I wanted the opportunity to fight those guys. And truthfully, Pat, the reason also that I made this move was I've trained all over the world. I've trained from East Coast to West Coast and everywhere in between. And I live a championship lifestyle that is just different and levels above every other guy and gal that I've ever trained around. I was training for my Bellator world title fights or even contender fighter title fights in Bellator that didn't have the clout like we just saw on Saturday night. But I was training as if I was fighting the number 1 guy in the world. So how do you live a championship lifestyle, do everything, in my mind, I do everything right, and I deserve to be talked about with the best lightweights in the world, yet I didn't have the opportunity to fight those guys and step inside the arena with them. So I had to make the jump. That's why I did it. I left relative certainty with Bellator. I left a great contract. I left predictability. I knew I was going to fight twice a year, be the poster boy, live a comfortable life. But, man, you cannot grow in comfortable scenarios. I want to live my life out on the fringes, outside of my comfort zone, in order to get everything that God has given me and get to the top of the division, get to the top of the world, and get every ounce of talent that God gave me since I was a small child. And just a small kid from a small town who picked himself up by his bootstraps just like my mom and dad did. right outside of St. Louis, Missouri, and been all over the world. And now it's time to go out there and stake my claim as the best lightweight in the world.
What? Hell yeah! Hey, I thought there was 2 to 3 different endings there, and each one of them just continued to top themselves. The bootstraps.
I'm gonna keep you on your toes.
I literally stood up in the middle of that. I mean, I was getting ready to go, and then it just kept going. That's so you're the old. You don't have to get ready if you stay ready. Is that something? So you don't really have fight camps. You're just like almost always in shape, and then you just have to change your strategy for whoever you're going to fight. You've never had a sandwich or a pizza or anything?
No, I haven't had a carb since 1993. So do the math.
I don't know. Are you telling me?
I'm joking. I have not had a gram of sugar since the turn of the century. No, man, I do stay ready, man. It's just easy for me. You know, this isn't a job. It's you know, you did it. You're an athlete. Like, you know, you got to train. But man, what we get to do. People buy tickets for. People wake up in the morning, they put on their Pat McAfee jersey just to go watch the game, man. Like, now people are buying my merch, and they're going to buy pay-per-views to watch me fight. I am living an absolute dream. So I've been given so many great gifts, so many great abilities, and to give anything less than my best every single day, man, I'm just squandering those gifts. And I know, just like you could say, Pat, like, eventually someday I'm going to take off those gloves for the last time. I'm going to be in some arena somewhere and about to shower and be done with my career. I'm going to have to look in the mirror at myself and ask myself honestly and truthfully, Michael, did you give everything that you possibly could with these talents that you were given? So I got 365 days a year for the next 5 years or so to get everything I possibly can. And man, now the sky is the limit, literally and figuratively. I will never do a backflip off the cage like that again. It was probably a bad idea, ill-advised yet entertaining. But I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time.
Okay, love the quote. Love that. That's what life's all about, by the way. I will say, it looked like you were very comfortable. I mean, you got on top of that. By the way, jabbed at his sternum, overhand right. I do that in the Oculus Arena every night. There's no chance of me getting punched in the actual face, but that is what I go with every single time. It was beautiful. And you got to the top of that cage quicker than I think I've ever seen anybody else get to the top. You got up there as if you were a cat. Was it just natural instinct there? And who did you say didn't like it?
Oh, Dana White. He got on the post-fight press conference, and he's like, "Does anybody effing hate the backflips as much as I hate the effing backflips?" Okay, the kid finally gets his opportunity in the UFC. It looks like he's gonna blow out his knees, his ankles, his spine. And I was like, "Yeah, that's a bad idea." But man, listen, you know, me and
great fucking form though. Hey, look at that form.
Hey, that's what the kids are calling full send. Okay, full send. Right there, it was at that moment right there on that picture where I was like, okay, this is either the greatest celebration of all time or the most ridiculous sports eventual funeral that anybody will ever see live on pay-per-view. So either way, we're here to talk about it, and I'm blessed to be on your show.
Okay, well, I'm pumped you're here too. Were you always just a guy heavy hand? Because you were a wrestler, right? You wrestled at Missouri alongside Ben Askren. I believe you guys were on the same team somewhere. Yep. Was that Missouri?
And Tyron Woodley. They were like my big brothers. They were really the reason I got into mixed martial arts.
Oh, so that wrestling room there was pretty insane. It seems like that was yeah, I would fathom. Those practices that people don't get to see. I assume there's some legendary stories out of that operation.
Oh, big time, man. Yeah, I mean, there was I didn't throw my first punch when I got into MMA. We'll put it that way. There's always 5 guys behind you nipping at your heels trying to take your spot. So you gotta, you know, there was punches thrown, and man, it was just the wrestling mentality. It's a hard nose, in your face, blue collar, balls to the wall, nonstop pace at all times, and that's what we did, Tiger style wrestling, and it served me well inside the cage. And so yeah, I started out as a wrestler, but man. Like I said, man, I've been given some great gifts. I feel like I got lightning in both hands. Usually knock guys out with the right hand because I'm right-handed, but been kind of expanding my repertoire, if you will, and I knocked out my last 2 guys with the left hand. So just getting more dangerous, man, and can't be happier.
Well, I'd say, by the way, I got lightning in both hands. Is an awesome thing to be able to say. Okay, that is an awesome thing to be able to say. Shout out to you. Are you gonna start trying to build like a, I guess like a shield around your right calf? Because what Poirier did to Conor McGregor's leg there, is that something that you see somebody else does? and you go, oh, yeah, see, that would be a pain in the ass if that happened to me, and then you have to start like prepping. Is that something that you automatically pick up, even if a fight isn't scheduled against him, but that's something like you think like, okay, this is something I do have to figure out at some point?
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. You talk about getting crushed in the face, crushed to the body. You talk about all these big time impacts that we make. It's like being in a car crash at all times inside that cage. But these little calf kicks, it's called a calf kick. You obviously aim below the knee, between the ankle and the knee, and as strong as your legs are, that calf muscle, those couple little calf muscles are dainty muscles, and they're so important. And essentially, your whole base, your whole body depends upon being able to those muscles working at the right time, those muscles firing and not stiffening up. So what Poirier did to Conor was it wasn't hurting him from a pain standpoint, but it immobilized him and immediately took him off of his game. So yes, it's something that I do practice a lot. And actually, in my fight against Dan Hooker, he's a long guy, freaking 6 foot tall. I look like a midget out there fighting him, and he threw his long legs, he opened up with a bunch of low calf kicks. And me and my coach Henry Hoopt have trained this a lot because guys see my low stance, my wide stance, my wrestler stance, short legs, and guys will target them. So it's something I have worked on. It's something that I'm willing to eat a couple to be able to throw and land some big punches, as you saw on Saturday night. And it's something that I work on, something I will be ready for if and when Dustin Poirier and I share that octagon together for the lightweight gold.
Sorry, I don't know as much as I should about your style of fighting. You got lightning in your feet too?
I don't. No, I know you do. I was
about to say, I give you a little thunder down there. Yeah.
See, the funny thing about me is I actually hate kicks because I do have short legs, and most of the time, the problem is God didn't create bones to crash against other bones without negative impact, right? So when I throw a kick, 9 times out of 10, I end up falling short and crushing my toes on someone's knee, hurting myself more than I hurt them. So I just try to stay away from kicks altogether. They don't work for me. I'm just going to throw hands as hard as I possibly can until the ref pulls me off.
That's brilliant, by the way. That's like in football. Whenever you try to go punch for a fumble, and I tried this one time. It worked one time, got cocky, tried it again. I punched a guy right in his elbow so hard. I just was like, oh my God, I'm not doing that ever again. I'm done for that thing.
Exactly.
I couldn't even, because when you're kicking with your leg, aren't you hitting him with your actual shin? Isn't that like a kick? Mitrione kicked me one time, all right? Because I trained down there a couple times, like 2 times. He tapped me out 4 times in a minute. Broke both my arms. I didn't understand any of it. But I was like, I feel like I could probably be a pretty good kick. I feel like I could probably give a good kick or whatever. And I was kicking the bag with like my foot or whatever. And he was like, don't kick it with your foot, move up, use your shin or whatever. And he stood in front of me. He was like, here, ready? And he goes, here, how do you feel? How's this feel? And he hit me with his foot. And I was like, yeah, not good. And then he hit me with the shin right in it almost dropped me like immediately. So you're kicking like with your shin. Is that what you guys are kicking with it? Not that you do, but the guys that are kicking, are they kicking each other with their shins?
Yeah. So in a perfect world,
deal?
yeah. In a perfect world, yeah, you want to take that shin bone and hit it right in the belly of the muscle. But as we said, 9 times out of 10, I end up really botching it in front of millions of people. So I just decided to stay away from it. But yeah, Matt Mitrione is a friend of mine. We trained together down in Florida. And a guy like him, he's got a little bit longer legs, and he's very mobile for a heavyweight. But it's always a moving target too. That's the problem. You get zoned in, you get the beat on them, and then all of a sudden they move, and then you just really regret it. About 90% of the way you realize, okay, this one's falling short and this one's going to hurt.
Now, obviously, you called out Conor and Dustin. Have you met them? And what are relationships like pre-fights? Because you saw Dustin and Conor actually have a moment with the hot sauce beforehand. And then sometimes you see fights where it's very contentious. What are the relationships like normally? Because I always find it so interesting that you guys have the ability to flip the switch between sport and reality. And whenever you're getting punched in the face by somebody and somebody's trying to knock you out and everything, and then dancing on your grave, and then you guys have the ability to flip that off and be like, thank you, have a good one. I have a lot of respect for that. Is it like that after fights, before fights? Is there any interaction normally between fighters?
Yeah, so we had a press conference, and it was actually a really cordial, pretty positive press conference, to be honest with you. I sat right next to Dustin Poirier before weigh-ins, just chopping it up, because it's funny, you know, before the fight, after the fight, he's a man, he's a human being, he's a father, he's a husband. They're guys that I respect. I mean, you got to respect anybody who does what we do for a living and puts our bodies through what we do for a living. But when that cage door closes and it's time to compete, he doesn't have a soul, he doesn't have a brain, he doesn't have anything. He's got 2 arms, 2 legs, and he's got a couple targets on him, and you're there to do a job. He's just another guy between you and putting food on the table for your family. Yeah, this is a very cordial kind of experience. You saw Connor and Dustin chopping it up. I sat next to Connor at the press conference, first time that I met him. And it's nice, too. You see these guys on TV. You see them on the internet. You size them up from afar, but when they're there in the flesh, it's much easier to get a beat on them. And it humanizes them a little bit. You kind of realize, okay, I could pick this guy up and slam him on his neck. You know, I could do some damage to this guy, right? You know, realizing that Connor's got some really great photographers around him to make him look 7 foot tall and a really huge guy, and he's not as big as I thought he was. Not that he's not a great athlete, and not that he's not a decent size for a lightweight, but it humanizes him, right? But all in all, man, I come from the wrestling background where, you know, you got 28 guys in your bracket. You're weighing in next to them. You're eating next to them before you go wrestle with them. You see them. You pass them in the hallways. You freaking end up at the urinal next to them, and you're like, dang, okay, I got to wrestle that guy here soon. You know, you get used to it. Like, to me, it doesn't matter. Me being not friends, but me being friendly with you, me showing you respect is not gonna hinder my performance nor decrease my chances of going out there and taking your head off. So I prefer to just, you know, be cordial. I'm a pretty positive guy, pretty joyful guy. I don't need to go around mean mugging people. That's kind of my demeanor.
Okay, so you just said a lot of awesome things there, obviously. Hey, by the way, seems to be a pretty regular thing for you, which is also awesome. Good for you. Whenever you said you got a chance to see him and it humanized him a little bit, that happens in the football world too, right? With the Patriots. Everybody talks about the mystique of things. Whenever there's like a mystique and then you get a chance to see it, you're like, oh, okay, those people poop the same way I do. Okay, like this is it does kind of have that situation. I've always wondered, whenever you guys have that this stare down or whatever the hell it is, and I assume that's just for photos, but it feels like there is a little bit of like, are you sizing? Because at that point you already have your plan for what you're going to do, right? Whenever you're doing that, is there anything happening in that aside from just a photography moment, or is there real potential gamesmanship happening in there at all?
For me, no. For a lot of guys, there is. I truly think that Conor McGregor uses those opportunities and has used those opportunities every single time to stare into a guy's soul. You know, he always does the thing. He puffs out his chest. He takes off his glasses. He stares through your soul, and he kind of just starts mentally breaking you before the fight. For me, I'm just like, okay, whatever, dude. We'll take this photo op, and then in about a day, 48 hours from now, I'm going to go out there and do my job. But you know, even to your point, like, you know, with the Patriots, yeah, I mean, we watch them and they look unbeatable, right? But then you see them in the flesh and you're like, man, these guys put their pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. And it was the same thing I did when I got done with my fight. I wanted to go be cage side and watch Conor and Poirier, because when you watch it on TV, you watch it on the internet, it looks so much faster, so much more violent. But then you see it in person, 3D. It slows it down a little bit, and it even humanizes it even more, and you can visualize yourself inside that octagon doing exactly what I did to Dan Hooker to one of those guys.
So whenever you're walking around town, are you just thinking well, not now because there's no humans walking around any towns, but you know, when towns are open, when you do have the ability to walk around towns, do you ever just look at somebody and go like, okay, if that person was to even look at me sideways, I could give a 2-piece to the jaw right there. Like whenever, for instance, Jorge Masvidal, whenever he was doing an interview last year, Super Bowl, I think with Rich Eisen, he said that whenever he sees a fighter or whatever, he sees like an equation basically, or something like that. I forget how he broke it down, but something like that. Like is that how you have to look at guys? Like, all right, here, because you said targets, you said they're just 2 arms and a couple targets, and I assume that changes for every fighter. But is that something you have to do? Is that the mindset in that whole thing?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, truthfully, for me, I feel like I have a leg up because I've been well versed in hand-to-hand combat since I was, 14 years old. Like, because wrestling, we're not throwing punches, we're not throwing kicks, but my goal is to grab your wrist, grab your head, grab your leg, pick you up, put you down, control your body, break you. So I've been doing that. I did that for 15 years. Then I started fighting, And now it's essentially the same thing, except now we can choke people, we can punch them, we can hit them, hit them with all of our limbs. But yeah, the body only works certain ways, right? Your knees only bend a certain way, your arms only bend a certain way. Guys have certain habits, certain tendencies, certain idiosyncrasies in the ways that they move, and they have, they don't usually stray outside of those things. So you're watching film, you're breaking things down, you're maybe listening to their interviews, you're trying to maybe get inside their mind and how you're going to mentally break them while you're physically breaking them. So there's a lot more in depth than two dudes just going out there and swinging for the fences these days, especially because as we've seen the sport of mixed martial arts evolve, and now you got a guy like me. I have a college degree. I didn't have to fight. I chose to fight because I believe it was the calling on my life, and I enjoy doing it. So you're getting a lot more educated people, a lot more people who are living the lifestyle of a martial artist. Whereas when the sport started back in the early 90s, it was kind of just barroom brawlers, and the sport has really cleaned itself up a lot over the last couple of decades.
And then Gracie came in and just started breaking people's arms everywhere. Excuse me, how you doing? Give me that.
Yeah.
Excuse me, how you doing?
Yeah, that's when, and that was back when there was no weight classes. So that was back when people started realizing, holy cow, this guy at 170 pounds just, choked out this 370-pound sumo wrestler. Maybe size doesn't mean everything,
Yeah, I do believe that was found out quickly. Ty, what do you got?
Michael, Pat mentioned it earlier. I'm sure you've heard that Ben Askren's going to be fighting Jake Paul. How do you think he's going to fare in that fight?
I love it, man. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen, man. I just love every great thing that happens to Ben Askren, because Ben Askren, say what you want about him. A lot of people don't know him like I know him. He's like a big brother to me. He's a guy that I would consider one of my best friends and teammates for life. I'm excited about it. Number one, let's be honest. Ben isn't the most talented striker. So if you're Jake Paul, you chose the right mixed martial artist to step inside the boxing arena. But I'm telling you right now, man, don't overlook my man Ben. Number one, I think it's great because I hope Ben's getting paid a grip. Number two, I'm tuning in. I might even be there, freaking cage side or boxing ring side, wherever the heck it is, because that's going to be a fun one. And I think it's awesome. And truthfully, I would never hate on anybody for making a living and doing what they're doing. The Paul brothers, man, fighting Mayweather and the guy, the basketball player, and KSI and all that kind of stuff. It's not real sport necessarily, but it's fun. It's fun to watch. So I guess it's good for the sport. It's entertaining, and you're just going to keep seeing it more and more as the world of combat sports just grows and grows and grows. It's something that people want to do. You can't go and watch UFC 257 this past weekend and watch these performances and watch the how big these spectacles are and what is on the line without wanting to taste that a little bit, right? I truly believe every man was created for an adventure to have, a beauty to win, and a battle to fight. So especially for us as men, we all want a battle to fight. So that's why people are drawn to mixed martial arts, and you're going to keep seeing more and more of these big-time shows happening.
Well, I love it. I can't wait to see what happens there. Ben Askren was on the show, gave us a great interview. He loves disc golf, that guy. That guy.
He's ranked in the world in disc golf.
Okay.
The man is ranked in the world.
Well, I'm happy his passion is paying off. I mean, it was a great conversation about that whole thing, man. Sir.
Mike, after 257, Dana came out and said that Khabib had mentioned to him that he wasn't impressed at all by Conor or Poirier's performances. Have you had any sort of talks behind the scenes? Was Khabib paying attention when you stepped into the octagon for the first time?
I mean, I hope he was. But yeah, I mean, at the post-fight press conference, I heard Dana saying that Khabib essentially said, Dana, come on, these guys are levels below me. And he's got every right to believe that. Man, the man is 29-0 for a reason. He's undefeated. He has looked unbeatable inside that UFC octagon for so many years. But, man, I truly believe that I did do something spectacular that night. I do have a wrestling pedigree that I think can rival his. I do believe that I have a recipe to beat the man, and that's why I wanted to call him out. I think in his quest for 30-0, he's got to beat somebody, so why not me? I truly believe if we step into the cage, he will become 29 in Chandler, and that's what I'm going with. And if he ever does come back, maybe I got to beat Poirier, get the title defended a couple times to woo him out of retirement. But either way, the division moves on. The show must go on, with or without Khabib. We don't need you. Sail off into the sunset. Go do your thing. You got a whole country on your back, a whole religion on your back. You are doing some amazing things for your people. Go do your thing. But don't hold up the division, and definitely don't be tweeting about Conor McGregor after the man just stepped inside the arena and lost. The worst thing that you can do as a man, as a competitor, is when you see one of your foes, one of your former opponents, even if you hate the guy, throw a tweet out there for all the world to see, just kind of basically like Pat said, dancing on his grave and celebrating his falling short. At least the man stepped into the arena. At least the man went out there, wore his heart on his sleeve, and took his L like a man. So good riddance if he wants to leave. If he wants to stay, man, I got a two-piece ready for him.
29 and Chandler, by the way. I'm a big fan of that.
Shirts. I'll send you a shirt.
Okay. All right, please do. You got like 4 of them here from today. He was swimming against a frozen river. I watched a video of him.
Bears.
He wrestled a couple bears over there. Any cool training things that we can start talking about that you have done? Have you wrestled a bear? Is there any chance? No.
No. First of all, it was a cub. Second of all, it was a trained cub. Third of all, man, that's just some weird thing them Russians do just for Instagram. Like that. All I say, I'm good old-fashioned, passionate American freaking twisted steel, getting out there and getting after him. I don't care. I got some weights I'm going to throw around. I got some bodies in the wrestling room. I pick them up and I put them down. That's all I got. I do some backflips here and there. That's about it. So Khabib can take his bear wrestling and do whatever he wants with it. But it doesn't interest me.
Hey, man, this has been an incredible conversation. I appreciate you so much. I hope we get a chance to chat again as you ascend this UFC ladder like you did Bellator for all those years.
Of course, man. Yeah, holler at me. I'm always down, man. Big fan of the show. My brother Eric watches it religiously, and he always talks about it. He always said, man, you haven't made it until you get on the Pat McAfee show.
Oh, man, no.
Hey, man.
No, that's not the way.
UFC called me.
Hey.
They said the UFC called me and said, Pat McAfee wants to talk to you. And I said, who?
Oh, man. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Tell Eric we said what's up as well. And by the way, if he's watching, what's up? We assume that the reason why you're on the show and why everything you just said there is bullshit is because once you get way up there, it's going to be hard for us to get to you. Yeah. It's going to be hard for us to get to you. Yeah, it is. You're going to be. You got lightning. You got lightning in your hands.
Your producer. You're right. But I'm gonna use my hands and I'm gonna text your producer. I'm gonna send you my number.
Perfect.
So you'll have my phone number, so I'll hop on whenever.
Bang! Ladies and gentlemen,
let's go.
Michael Chandler. Hey, he was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was absolutely awesome.
Electric.
That was electric.
Walks in the cage. Doesn't have a soul. Doesn't have a brain.
Just 2 arms, a couple targets.
Wild.
Oh, just flip the switch and then just walking about the rest of us.
Yeah.
He's just walking amongst us, by the way.
Never know.
Hey, that was a trained bear.
Come.
He was awesome. All right, we got to get to a break. We'll do some phone calls on the other side. We still have no idea, by the way. I'm assuming no at this point. I'm assuming there is none.
Or maybe, you never know.
No. I'm
But
thinking
maybe.
Might never know.
I would have normally heard by now, so that is a bummer. But shout out to Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was cool, man.
Yeah.
Hey, how about his entire thing of when I'm 40, I won't be able to sleep if I didn't go do UFC or whatever?
Be
That's
like laying my head on concrete every night.
It's uncomfortable.
Very.
By the way, I think from following along, that's what Khabib did growing up.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
And he swam against rivers, frozen rivers.
Yeah.
And he wrestled cubs.
Yeah. Train cubs.
Did we know the temperature of that water?
It was so cold.
Do we know that?
I mean, you're right. They could have put that gray filter on it that
Might
just
have been
makes it
jacuzzi.
look.
Yeah, it might have been a lazy river. Now that you think of it, could just be a Russian
Khabib a
lazy
fake?
river.
I just don't think. Even if it was a lazy river, by the way, did you see those rapids?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, they turned it up.
That
is
is strong current.
That is my worst nightmare.
Might be
We had
CGI.
We had a wave pool.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the town we were in.
Okay.
You went there, you had to keep your head on a swivel because every town in town was going there.
Tri-state.
Yeah, had to keep her. But whenever those waves turned on, I'll never forget having the nightmares I had when I couldn't get to the ladder. I was like, oh my God, this is where I'm dying. This is where I'm dying.
Horn goes off. You go about 3 seconds.
Oh my God. And then as soon as that thing came, he was like, oh no, I'm a dead man. Because the ladder only went so far. And then whenever the waves were gone, you were down there. And then whenever the waves came up, you're like, oh no, you got to. So I don't know how cold that river was that Khabib was swimming against, but It was fucking miserable.
Oh, yeah.
I hope old buddy gets a chance to fight him, though.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because Khabib, if I do recall, made a deal with his dad to go 30-0 or something. And then he made a deal with his mom that he wouldn't fight anymore. So now he's kind of conflicted after his dad passed away.
Jeez.
The 30th fight. Yeah. If Michael Chandler is that fight, that'd be huge.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets a dub. Hopefully we'll have a better show on the other side of the break. This is the Pat McAfee Show. And you got about 4 minutes or so. Ooh. And when we return, we're going to answer some phone calls, and we're going to tell you about the greatest new banking system.
Yes.
Yeah. This is Pat McAfee Show, Sirius XM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Dance with me.
Hey, listen, tonight, you in the red, you in the blue. I hate you both, and fuck you too. Before I leave here, I'm knocking all you out. Cheers. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You too. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Bang. And I'm out. Get me out. Motor City Dan Campbell, the head coach for Detroit Lions, might be the biggest football guy I have ever seen operate in public in my entire life. MC, DC.
Dan Campbell's been a guy who's been on my rising head coaching candidates list for several years now.
He said, you're going to knock us down. We're going to get up, and on our way up, we're going to bite your kneecap off.
If you're Dan Campbell's guy, like, you would do anything for him. He seems to be that kind of person.
If you're a Detroit Lions fan, I think you are fucking excited about the possibilities.
And I mean, he's always on fire, always ready to go.
No other team in the NFL is ready to bite off fucking patellas, dude.
Hope he turns it around up there in Detroit, man.
The best thing to happen to the NFL in a long, long time at this point.
Program builder, a tone setter, a culture builder.
And there's nothing better than this guy right now.
He was always poised. He was always locked in.
A gallon of coffee a day.
Somebody who played for the Lions. He understands that market. He understands they haven't won since 1957. He knows all the different challenges. He knows what it's like to live there, to be a part of it.
I love what Dan Campbell's doing.
The greatest thing the Detroit Lions have ever done.
Oh, man, they got a great one.
Let's go! MCDC, dude. MCDC. Go get you a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pretty big breaking news.
Oh, no. What's that? Oh, he got got. Oh, he got got. He got got. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Tony. Gordon Schefter. We got to get to a goddamn break. Can't happen. Oh, no. Can't win with it. Oh, no. Everything I just said was wrong.
It would have been cool though if it was right.
It would have been cool, wouldn't it? Dig just got a darn Schefter.
Oh, my
It was at Ultra Weed Hater.
Oh.
He got McCockiner.
What was it doing on my timeline?
Bro, McCockner's just jujuing on me. I didn't think I could continue to be an FCC regulated person without really hitting my max potential.
And that's why he's with us. I love it. The Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Welcome back to The Pat McAfee Show here on Tuesday, January 26, 2021 years after the year zero. It is 1:40 Eastern Standard Time, and I have some news for you. Current is the new way to bank. It's a mobile bank with this incredible Premier Black Visa debit card. It operates like it's cash, basically, but it's a mobile bank that has completely changed the game. Imagine yourself when the world opens back up. Ooh. Who knows when that's going to be?
2024.
Who knows when that's going to be? Maybe 2025. What? 2026? What? 2027? What? Hey, whenever it is, I assume at that point it'll be a much different situation with Current because of how awesome it is now.
Yeah.
Getting a chance to kind of lead off with them here and start our current voyage has been fantastic. But imagine dropping this sleek, incredibly good-looking black card right on the table and saying, here's my card. That's what Current offers you. And Current is great because they help you. It gets you paid up to 2 days faster. There are no hidden fees or minimum balance requirements. Free overdraft of up to $100. Good for these Amazon purchases.
Oh, yeah.
Good for these at-home purchases where you don't really know. Oh, did I do the math perfectly? No big deal. Free overdraft of up to $100. Instant refunds on gas station holds. Earn points on purchases that are only redeemable for cash. This is the only card that does that.
Wow.
It only takes 2 minutes to sign up and cards ship for free. Right now, go to current.com/McAfee to get a Current Black Premium card. That's current.com/McAfee. current.com/McAfee. Shout out to Current, dude. Shout out to you. Welcome back to the show. Card is sleek.
Yeah, I need one.
It's awesome.
It's really cool looking.
Yeah.
Like Miami Vice.
It's a mobile bank, too. Like who goes to the bank anymore?
Not me.
I watched a documentary on old Bitcoin.
How'd it go?
And they broke down what money is now, and it was pretty real. It's not real money. It's numbers in different systems and blah, blah, blah. You're just moving them. You never see them. And Current's like, yeah, you're 100% right. That's what we're going to be. We're just going to be, we're going to be a mobile bank. We had a couple banks downtown get burnt down during the riots here. Nobody knew.
No.
I didn't until you just said that.
Nobody really even knew. Banks were closed for a long time. Nobody even knew. I don't think. It's a shame. The only reason why I knew is because when I would try to go get the $500,000 to give away, the bank that is closest here was closed. I said, "Excuse me, I would like that all in 20s, please," and they were closed. That money did not exist, Foxy, and I had to go to a different bank, and it was a tough go. But shout out to Current, shout out to you. Here we are, Tuesday, January 26, 2021. We have not heard a single thing from the MVP of the NFL this season. AJ Hawk will be joining us in about 17, 18 minutes. Cannot wait to chat with him and see what's going on in his world. But while we're here, we might as well get to some phone calls, shall we?
Yeah.
Shout out to Michael Chandler, by the way. That was a hell of a call.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Hell of a conversation with that man. I hope he goes on and wins everything. You know what I mean? Hope he does that. Let's go to Blake in Illinois. What's going on, Blake?
Can you hear him, Pat?
This guy's on more vitamins than us. What's going on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You sound great, Blake. What's going on, pal? What do you want to talk about? All right, Blake stinks. Let's go to CJ. Come on, what's going on, CJ?
What's going on? How's it going, Pat and the boys?
Hey, not too shabby. I believe we just went through a technical difficulty with Blake over there. CJ, hopefully you can hear us. What do you want to talk about?
So I got news from Ultra Weed Hater and Darren Schefter.
Nice.
This will be breaking later on today that the Texans and the Lions will be trading Matty Stat and Deshaun Watson for number 7 and 41 pick, and then also the 67 Texans pick going to the Lions.
Let's go, CJ.
It's perfect for a darn chef. Trade right there.
Yeah, I feel like
that was awesome. Just the in-depth there. The 67th pick as well is going to be moved. Good for him. A lot of quarterbacks about to be moved. Matty Stafford's coming to the Indianapolis Colts. All right, I mean, that's just locked in. You might as well just go ahead and lock that in.
Done deal.
Done deal.
I don't know.
Matthew Stafford going to be on the Indianapolis Colts here, and who knows when that whole deal is going to happen, but I guess it is being reported now that the Patriots are also potentially involved. And maybe the Denver Broncos kind of want to snoop around, you know what I mean? But everybody knows that there's only one landing spot for Matty Stafford, and that's the Indianapolis Colts.
I don't think so.
And whenever you plug Matty Stafford into that team, I mean, that team immediately, not that they weren't, this past year, but now we're talking about who's going to have to play Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about with this AFC, with the Indianapolis Colts, with Matthew Stafford at the helmet, only 32 years of age or something like that. They got another 6 years, and everybody's saying, are you preparing for the future if you bring in Matthew Stafford? Like, what future are you preparing for? 10 years from now? I'm going to be 43? Is that what the future we're preparing for? Or are we looking for like the next 4 years? What is the future whenever you're talking about that? I love when teams decide like, hey, we're going to try to win it. When? Right now. Right now also means like the next 2 years. Oh, we're game planning for long down. When? When are you? 3 years? 4 years? When's down the road? Because if you can get a Matthew Stafford who still has a lot of great football left in him right now at $21 million or whatever a year, which is much lower than a lot of other people, and then allegedly a renegotiation that could potentially happen with an extension of some sort for 4 years or whatever. I mean, that's a guy you go get. And I think a lot of people that didn't get a chance or haven't had a chance to watch Matthew Stafford play football, whenever he gets on a team next year that's probably going to have a couple more primetime games or games that are notable and maybe replayed and things like that amongst highlights and stuff like that. I think people are going to realize very quickly, like, oh, this guy's really fucking good. And that's why whenever he's playing for the Indianapolis Colts next year, it's going to be awesome.
Or when he's playing for the New England Patriots, one of the teams that lead the league in primetime games, even when they stink. But are the Broncos and Drew Lock? Drew Lock stinks. Is that the consensus here now?
I checked in with Broncos Twitter at the end of the year. And Broncos Twitter, they checked in with me too, by the way. I did some scouting for them this year. I still believe in him. I still believe in him.
Absolutely.
I still believe in Taylor Russolino. I do. I still believe in him, even though he had So Broncos Twitter's checked in with me, and I've checked in with Broncos Twitter there at the end. And a lot of them were saying, after 17 weeks, we still don't know if Drew Lock is the answer. Because last year was supposed to be, is Drew Lock the answer? Because he had a couple big-time games 2 years ago, like big-time games. Houston, there was a couple awesome moments in there. But over there in the Broncos, is it Drew Lock? Is it the quarterback? Is it everything else? Like, why? You know what I mean? It's a very interesting situation. If John Elway, who just hired a GM,
Mr. Patton, I believe.
the former GM hired the new GM and gave himself a promotion.
Yes.
He did not get fired as general manager.
No.
He got a promotion. He hires the general manager.
Bingo.
Lifetime deal.
Anyways, which is awesome for John Elway. He deserves it. This one's for John. Okay, John is awesome and that whole thing. But it feels like they're going to be in the quarterback market forever, right? Unless they do something like they did with Peyton, which would be move maybe a Matthew Stafford in there if you could.
So you're out on Drew Lock then, too?
Me? I don't know.
I think at this point, right?
I don't know. That's what Broncos Twitter was saying. Like if it's 17 weeks and we still don't know if this is our guy.
It's only year 2 though. I mean, look at what Josh Allen did in year 3.
Yeah, I agree. Gotta have a little patience. Yeah. But look, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a Broncos expert. Now, if Matthew Stafford was their quarterback, I'd watch every single week.
Yeah.
Watching Matthew Stafford play football is awesome. He'll throw for 400. Yeah. He will throw for 400 in a game.
He's so good. I'm really nervous about this trade because I think the Lions are going to lie in this one and try to get cute and maybe go, oh, Eagles, like maybe we go Wentz for Stafford, or like, hey, Rams, maybe we go Goff for Stafford. They do some dumb shit like that.
Oh, Goff in Detroit.
No. I'm so nervous for this.
The golf course, dude. The golf course.
Bro, just send him to Indy, give us a first-round pick, bada bing, bada boom.
Stafford's house is beautiful. Golf would love the basketball court.
That house is for sale in the Detroit Pistons basketball court that's in there on that lake up there.
Original flooring.
Oh. Uh-oh. It's nice. They even got like it looks like a hotel balcony view. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Goff would love that place.
He'd love that place.
Eat it up.
He could take the golf course and put it right down beneath the little retention
pool.
And
by the way, shout out to, we got like it's Augusta with water.
Yeah, exactly.
He puts a golf course out on the lake.
Put an island out there.
Oh my God! And then Matty Stafford just takes his house over there in L.A.
Yeah,
it'd just be a straight up
trade.
Lions,
that makes too much sense.
Lions take the $40 million contract next year for Goff.
Yeah.
And the Rams get Matthew Stafford in $21 million deal.
Yep.
That's a good deal.
Wouldn't that be the most Lions thing of all time?
It would be, but these quarterbacks got to go somewhere, dude. Like, where's everybody going to go? Nobody knows where everybody's going to go. What's everybody going to do? Who's going to go where? 18 new quarterbacks next year is what Schefter said? Are you fucking kidding me? What are we even doing?
We said that last year, and Jameis and Dalton were left out without a seat.
And Cam took a $1 million. Dalton, by the way, ended up.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, he got paid, too.
He did.
It turns out Jameis is the best quarterback on that roster. I mean, he just didn't play, but...
True.
MCDC strikes me as a Gardner Minshew guy.
It does.
If anybody's playing quarterback up there, I think it's going to be
makes perfect
Minshew.
sense.
That makes a lot of sense there, too. But the issue is Jacksonville. They already got their guy. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. They're just going to cut him,
So they don't
cut
need
him
a
clean.
need- they don't
Go
have a
ahead.
need
Oh, you think they're going to cut Gardner Minshew?
Cut him loose.
Well, or MCDC might offer them a first-round pick for him.
True.
That's a good idea.
Gardner Minshew, by the way, his mullet is looking fantastic.
Yeah,
I seen it on the internet. And you got to remember, Gardner Minshew was their guy. They sent Nick Foles packing to Chicago because Gardner Minshew was their guy. And then at the end of the season, when Gardner Minshew could have played, they put in Mike Glennon, I believe.
Exactly. Couldn't lose that first pick.
Interesting situation down there with Gardner Minshew. He took the world by storm. He was a player.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt, I think, right? And then it just all kind of fizzled away. Good thing we'll still see him on the internet. Though.
Yeah,
he will be around for a long time, and that's a gift to all of us. Trevor Lawrence, that's obviously one of them. He's going to be for Jacksonville. There's a Mel Kiper, I believe, put out a draft.
Yes.
And he's got Devontae Smith going number 2 overall, which is interesting. If you're the Heisman winner on the national champion team and had a hell of a national championship, why are you going to the Senior Bowl? As a lot of people would ask. I would assume he says, hey, I just want to compete. He has opted out of the height and weight thing. So he's, nah, you ain't weighing me here. Not doing it. Not doing the little size thing either. Just watch him play football, write your notes, and then we'll move on. It's interesting that he's going down there. I think if you're a team, you got to be very pumped about the type of guy you're getting. Like, okay, he wants to compete. But I don't think anything good comes from him going to the Senior Bowl. Yeah, it's huge risk. Absolutely huge risk. I don't see. Now, I played in Senior Bowl. Okay? And the guy holding for me had never held a football before.
Yikes.
That was a good time. And there was only one field down there, so you literally couldn't kick when anybody else was on the field. And by the way, when everybody else was on the field, that's when the coaches and scouts were there. And I was not going to the combine, so that was literally all I had. So I had to make the most of every single opportunity down there, and I did not. The Senior Bowl did not do me many favors. It did not. I actually got drafted at a completely different position. And at the Senior Bowl, I was told I should never punt a football again because I'm at the Senior Bowl as a kicker, so I should never punt again. That guy is still coaching in the league and is a very good coach, but he told me that with a very straight face. So the Senior Bowl has been very good for some people. Myself, not so much. I wonder why Devontae's going down there. I wonder why he's doing it. I'm intrigued by it. It's going to make the product better, I'd assume, unless quarterbacks are all trash.
Him and Najee Harris are playing for the team coached by the Dolphins coaching staff.
Oh, geez, you got to be trying to stir a little shit over there. They're going to make a move to get him down there.
Nice. We got 2 first-round picks.
Hey, just go and get Devontae. It's very interesting, though. It is very interesting he's doing that. And now we're in the time. Now, granted, the Super Bowl is in 2 weeks, so we got off-season shows here for the next, a week or so at this point. Probably a lot of conversation, fodder. The whole who's going to get drafted where, it's going to play into it because how many quarterbacks are going to get drafted? Does that go into account with obviously the veterans that are going to be available? Because now every GM who potentially needs a quarterback has to think to themselves, all right, is Mac Jones better option than whatever Goff would potentially be if we were to get, like, they seem to be pretty similar quarterbacks. Is that who's the better option? He's obviously much cheaper, but will he be able to fare? Zach, there's going to be so much of that going on that when it normally doesn't happen. And I feel like this is going to become a trend here at this point.
You were asking about the quarterbacks of the Senior Bowl. A lot of the top, like Kellen Mond, Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, they're all there.
Everybody's playing.
Yeah.
Let's go do it. Hey, look at these kids. These kids get yelled at because they opt out of bowl games and everything like that. If there's a chance to get to the NFL, these guys are going to go work and compete against the other greats. I like that. I mean, if any of them get hurt, they're going to regret all of this.
Yep.
But maybe the Senior Bowl, because the Combine, the way it is, this is really... maybe they're using this as like the meetings thing. So he opted out of the height and weight. People normally do that at the Combine. They opt out of things. He's potentially going to opt out of some stuff. Okay, so they're treating maybe the Senior Bowl. Did we just figure that out live? Yeah. Feels like that's probably why, because the way the Combine's set up, this is potentially one of the only times GMs, everybody will get the chance to meet with people. people. We don't know if that's true or not. We're just thinking that that's potentially why all these big, high-profile players are going to play in an all-star game. That's what a Senior Bowl is. I'm a former champion of Senior Bowl, by the way. We won, got a ring. How you doing? Keep moving. Pat White, MVP of that game, like every other bowl game he played in, and I played in. He was the MVP, and we won. So 5 straight, by the way, Pat White, including the Senior Bowl or whatever. But normally, that's just an all-star game where you can get some work in if you're maybe like third rounder to seventh, to second rounder or whatever, maybe even late first. But normally the guys that are locked in, I don't think that's something they just go ahead and do because it's a big risk.
Yeah.
But now maybe you're running a risk of not going to meet the coaches or the GMs because you can't do it at the combine.
Well, Herbert was the MVP last year, right?
Yeah. He was a player, by the way. Tua play?
No,
he was doing a hip thing.
Lombardi said when he was with the Patriots that he thought the Senior Bowl was huge to go to.
We had Brian Cushing, Clay Matthews.
Damn. Dudes.
No, not Clay Matthews. Fili Moala. Our team was awesome. Practice was insane. I sat there and watched the whole thing. I tried to play catch on the sideline to showcase I was an athlete. AJ Hawk joins us on the other side. Hour 3 is in 6 minutes. See ya.
Dance with me.
Let me tell you a little story about these statistics. Troy Polamalu, okay? Fucking Troy Polamalu. So we had a fake for the Pittsburgh Steelers that was a 100%er. We didn't even have a cancel the goddamn play because it was a 100%er. If we ever end up in this situation, inside the 7-yard line on the left hash, it is a 100%er that the C gap will be wide open and we will just part the C to the left. It'll be a touchdown. 100%er. We're playing in Pittsburgh, the city I grew up in. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I won the punt, pass, and kick national championship, AJ. National championship, AJ.
Congrats.
AJ, did you ever win the national championship, punt, pass, and kick?
I think I got 3rd or 4th out of 4 at the Nationals.
I'm proud of you, man. Anyways, so we're there in that stadium, okay? A lot of McAfee's in there. A lot of McAfee's in Pittsburgh. I'm going to score my first fucking touchdown, night game, Sunday Night Football, I believe it was, right here, touchdown. We get into that situation, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is really going to happen. We're like on the 6 on the left hash. It's 4th and goal now. Field goal team's jogging on. I'm like, well, fuck, it's about to, I'm ready. I am ready for this to happen. So I get out there. I get down. Vinny's like happy for me. Vinny's like very excited. He's like, let's fucking go. Like Vinny's excited for me at this moment. I'm like, here we go. So I make the call. I forget what it was. So I start saying it, right? And everybody's looking at me like, okay, bright eyes. Here we go. Let's get after it. Offensive linemen are dead ass tired. They do not want to be in the middle of a field goal anyways. So they're just like, all right, I don't give a fuck if you die here, but this should work. Let's get some points. And all of a sudden, I go through my cadence, I call it, I get down, and Troy Polamalu's fucking ass goes ahead for however long his career was at this point. I think it was like 9 years or 8 years at this point. Not a once has he ever gone to this side of the field over here to the left and stood right in the C gap. Never. He lined up exactly where he had lined in film 100% of the time. And then as soon as I got to like the second cadence right before set, he just bounced his little ass right over to the C gap. And I like stopped everything I was doing and I literally just looked at him. And I gave him like a, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why are you there right now? And then I stood up and said, we are kicking it. We have to kick it. We are kicking this. And then I get down, and Vinatieri kicks it, and I jog off the field, and Chuck Pagano comes running up next to me. He's like, hey, good job. What you see? I said, what did I see? Polamalu just fucking went right into the goddamn C gap. What did I see? What did I see? And he goes, okay, sounds good. Good call then. And good call then. And then Vinatieri's like, hey, way to go, buddy. I'm like, way to go? Are we not going to talk about how big of a fucking asshole Troy Polamalu is for what just happened right there? So that's.
I saw the angel of death waiting for me in the C gap.
It's unbelievable. What, you thought I was going to run him over? No way. He's probably going to strip me and score a touchdown the other fucking. That's Polamalu, bro. That ain't just your backyard football with your son. These are professional fucking athletes. He'd probably jump over the lineman, pick me up, and run me into the other fucking end zone if he wanted to. That's what he would have done.
The hard-hitting safety of his generation, too. I mean, Ed Reed, great cover safety. I don't know that you would have feared him, but
Ed Reed, I would have feared Ed Reed. Yeah, if I saw Ed Reed in that C gap, absolutely. Reed, boy, the best safety you ever seen, boy. I ain't doing shit to Ed Reed.
No, Ed Reed would have made the tackle. I'm saying that Polamalu would have shaved years off your life.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Cause his pressure. Okay. Oh my God! Best sign spinner in the world! At least now he says, that was unbelievable. Bro, thank you for what you just did right there. What's your name?
Mike.
Mike, where you from?
Right here in Los Angeles.
That was fucking awesome to watch. Good luck out there. They should be paying you more.
Tune in for the World Sign Spinning Championship in Vegas.
There's a World Sign Spinning Championship?
In Vegas.
Are you like a champion?
I rank.
You rank? What do you rank?
I got 8th in the 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
What do we have to do to get better? How do we get to first place? What's the new move? What's the new move? Maybe light it on fire. Oh! Least now! Oh my God! If I was getting to the end with the kickflip, I don't know how you're 8th in the world. You should be number 1. And if I was leasing a place, I'm fucking coming here.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes, speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is hour 3 on this Tuesday, January 26th, 2021. This Sirius XM Channel 82 Mad Dog Sports Radio Show will continue here on this glorious day. Joining us now is a man who is a Super Bowl champion for the Green Bay Packers, ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk. Yeah! AJ, how you doing, pal?
Sorry, guys, it's just me.
Well, you know, I was trying to figure out how to address that all day because a lot of people were tweeting, you know, because this weekly tradition that started this season and has been, in my eyes, some of the coolest conversation I've ever been a part of. You know, a lot of people automatically assume as soon as some things start to happen, I start getting tweets, you know, like, hey, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And the season has ended. So therefore, the conversations that we, you know, talked about and chatted about have kind of come to a conclusion. There was zero expectation by any of us for this man to join us today. So it was like one of those things where I didn't know how to address the whole thing. But ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now, the 2020 NFL MVP, Aaron Rodgers. What's up, dude?
I expected to be on here, so I don't know what you're talking about. I mean,
okay, all right. Well, I'm happy you did. All right, because for me, I assume this happens to AJ, who is a known friend of yours. Anything that you say or do, obviously, boom, firestorm comes with it. And now, because of this show, I'm the one that sees some tweets from it, and I am so thankful you joined us, man. The mustache looks incredible, and the fact that you're wearing that shirt, I am eternally grateful for, pal.
well, yeah, we might as well drop some bombs on this show. You know what I mean? better than those scrubs out there. for some info.
Oh man, I don't know. Let's not lead off.
Can we start with this sign spinning thing? What is this sign spinning conference all about? I just need to get caught up.
Okay, for those that don't know that are listening on Sirius, during the commercial breaks on YouTube, we run videos of my former life escapades, whatever the hell it is. And in walking the streets of Los Angeles, I was leaving Flight Club, by the way, which is a shoe store there. I bought gold-plated Air Force Ones from Flight Club. They were in my bag. I was turning the corner in Los Angeles, and this guy, we had to wait because, the little white walk person wasn't up there yet. This guy was tossing this thing up in the air. He was like punching it, and then he like headed it, and then people just walking right by him or whatever. And I was obviously very high at the time. I was mind blown by what this guy was doing. So that's that entire situation right there. I gave him a couple $100. He deserves a lot more, but there's a lot of talented people out there, Aaron.
That's a great story. I appreciate that.
Hey, no problem. How have you been? You been okay? It's had miserable. I told the story about we lost the Super Bowl, and it was the most miserable room I've ever been in. And a lot of people have talked about this with you now and everything. The season ends so abruptly out of nowhere. It is a disheartening thing. And I think that is why I potentially thought you weren't going to join us today, because it is a very tough thing, especially whenever you've given so much. How's the day? How have the last couple of days been? You all right? The mustache looks fantastic. Anything else?
No, that's about it. Next question. It's tough, man. I think that's, as you guys both know, being former players, just the abruptness of the season. You're one day you're competing, the next day it's everybody's leaving, we're done, and you just know that group of guys is never going to be together again. That same group, and often, it's more than that. It's personnel, coaches, equipment people, trainers. You just never know. Like, we came back this year, and one of our longtime equipment guys was gone. He went in retirement. That's a guy you spend 15 years with, and you hear him, every Wednesday. Hey, it's ticket day. AJ, that's what I'm talking about. But just such a sweet guy that you love. You love the conversations and the friendship, and that's just one of many people who there was turnover from last year. And it'll be the same with this year. There'll be new guys, different positions, new people around, and that's the hard part, is just knowing how special each group is individually, and then season ends and it's over.
Hey, were you at all surprised to see the wild speculation out there after your post-game comments when you're like, you acted like everybody's future is up in the air?
It was awesome, by the way. We ran for an hour with it.
I didn't really see a whole lot until maybe yesterday, and then I realized there were some things swirling around. I don't feel like I said anything that I hadn't said before. I said it the first time I talked to the media. It was more a realization, I think, that ultimately my future is not necessarily in my control. And I think that was what just kind of hit me in the moment. I was thinking about, Aaron Jones and Corey Linsley and other guys we have under contract, Big Dog, guys who I don't know what their future is going to be, and myself included. Now, obviously, after the season that I had, and potentially win an MVP, and we obviously made it another good run. I don't think that there's any reason why I wouldn't be back, but look, I think there's not many absolutes, as you guys know, in this business. So to make an absolute statement about something that is not an absolute, just I didn't do it, and I guess that's why it went kind of nuts.
So I think everybody, though, the reason why, and thanks for clarifying that, by the way, I think a lot of us yesterday kind of pieced that together. I mean, that was, but the conversation was obviously huge. But, when everybody, now the reaction to what you just said there is going to be, so Aaron doesn't even know if he's going to be on the Packers team next year because he's like Big Dog or like Aaron Jones or something like that. That's going to be the speculation now. It's like, does Aaron feel as if he is the piece the Green Bay Packers, like that's the shit that's going to come from that statement, Well,
I don't, and frankly, Pat, me and AJ knows, I don't give a shit about that. I mean, I could I couldn't care any less about speculation off of that. I don't think people are used to hearing the truth from athletes. So when they hear the truth, it's so like surprising at times. That's why this show, I think, has been so different than it's because you're hearing somebody who, has been around a long time, who talks to people that he likes and shares like real non-pre-rehearsed, non-robotic comments. That's all I said after the game. It was like obviously I'm 15 minutes from crying in the locker room with, some of my teammates. I come and sit down and do this interview, and they ask me questions. I give real answers like I do on this show. And to me, a reality, not a certainty or an absolute, is that my future is not in my hands. Now, that's really the case for all of us, I think, as players. But you can't, I think, naturally, there's times where you let your mind go to maybe, well, I'm going to be a Packer for life, or I'm going to be, I'm going to be like a Tim Duncan or a Jeter or a Kobe and play with one team my entire career. I think naturally you dream about that. I mean, that's kind of like a dream scenario, and I've talked about that for much of my career. I think, when they drafted Jordan, it was more just like the reality kicking in going, hey, that's actually never the case. There are no absolutes in this business. And I think it's a beautiful thing to sit with and to wrap your head around. And I did. And I got to a beautiful place about it. Doesn't mean that that's not still a reality. I think that's the only reality, is that there is no absolutes in this business. I just reiterated that after the game, and I get it. Some people are like, well, you just threw 48 touchdowns and probably going to win MVP. Yeah, I understand that. But again, there's no absolutes in this business. So I gave a real answer in the moment. And then people, obviously, it's a slow week. So there's things that need to be talked about.
Yeah. You're renegotiating your contract right now?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Hey, you were at the Colts for a while. I had you at the Colts for a couple of days, like a couple of hours, yesterday. It was pretty cool.
Well, you're not helping.
Well, no, but I did say, I would like it to be known that I did say, even on Get Up yesterday, I was on Get Up yesterday to talk about it. Obviously, anytime you do anything, they want me to talk about it. And, I apologize for taking a little shine there and getting an opportunity to get on there and do the whole thing. But I prefaced.
You don't.
I do. But I did preface the entire thing with, I listened to that. I don't think there's anything that was said there. But if we're going to do it, let's fucking put him in the Colts. I mean, if we're going to have the conversation, let's move him to at least the Colts. So I do apologize for what I added in there. But I think we were pretty clear that we did not think anything was going to happen, as did much of the world. But it's a good conversation piece. AJ, I'm sorry there, bub.
No, you mentioned speaking the truth to the media and them not being able to handle it. Like, what is the truth then for you? Like right now, you have all the leverage. If you want to go back and say, hey, give me 40 a year, like do something. Like, do you have 50? I guess, where are you with everything that's going on right now? I know we're only a couple days removed from the loss.
60 a year, maybe.
Yeah, 70.
Well, I think in general, that's a weird way to look at it. You start talking about leverage and different things. Like, I don't know. The only leverage I feel like that I have is the way I play, and that speaks for itself. Like,
that's why you have it. That's why you have all the leverage, because of how you play.
You're pretty good.
Well, I know, but I did see, thanks to Tom Fanning, like I did see, some of these comments being made, and I don't want to go through them one by one and talk about, the falsehoods being said out there, but I haven't even had the conversations yet. Look, this is day 2. Yesterday was exit meetings, and so I had my meetings with, my quarterback coach and offense coordinator, and you say goodbye to your teammates and stuff, and then you start to clean your locker out, but I'm around this week, so I'm not like jetting out of town and sayonara Green Bay. Like, there's conversations to be had. I'm going to have them with the right people, but it's the same conversation we have every single year. There's nothing, there's no like big, I'm going to come to the table with, I need this and this and this. Like, look, we have honest conversations about where we're at every single year, and whether that's with Brian, Matt, Mark, I've had these conversations for years. I think it's part of like being a leader on the squad and having a pulse of the team and the direction that we're going. And we'll have the same conversations we do every year. And I always look forward to those conversations.
What are you thinking? NFC Championship back-to-back years. I mean, anytime you're a part of the final four teams in the biggest league on earth, 47 million people watched that game legally. I'd assume a lot more people streamed it. It was the biggest. I mean, it's 47 million fucking people watched you play football the other day, by the way. That is, don't think about it. Don't want you to change anything the way you do, but that is insane. But NFC Championship, 2 years in a row now, you're playing your best football. What are your thoughts going into the offseason? I mean, 2 days, obviously this is very unfair to you, but I mean, we're kind of in that situation now. What are your thoughts for next year? How do you, with the moving pieces, and you talked about even behind the scenes and everything like that, what are your thoughts on the state of the Packers and how we get to the Super Bowl next year and take that next step? It's impossible to get to the NFC Championship back-to-back years. It is very difficult to do that. Nobody really talks about it. But what do we take to the next step, Aaron? How are we getting to the
So now it's a we. Yesterday you traded me to the Colts, and today it's a how do we get
Whoa.
Okay, this isn't Ty Schmidt over here asking a good
Whoa.
You traded me to the Colts.
No. You go to the Colts, we too, dude. Yeah. that's still a we. You're getting it all wrong, pal, okay?
Okay. So you're on team 12. You're not, okay.
Yeah. But I think very clear, by the way, this year. I think it's been pretty clear. But what is the thought going into next season, you think?
Look, I think the first thing is to get away. You got to get away from it. And I was talking with Luke yesterday, Gutsy, and, you realize just what a grind it is. And I think it's always important to just recharge. And that's why, after the game and, the first few days when it's still raw and there's so many emotions tied up, the last thing you want to do is to make some grandiose statements about next year, the future, whatever it might be. Just because there's just a lot of emotion tied up to a lot of just sadness about the abrupt ending and everything. And that usually gets replaced with, I think, a lot of pride and appreciation for the year and the ups and downs and what you accomplished. And that'll kick in at some point. It hasn't really kicked in yet, but at some point that'll kick in. But I think it's important to really get away and just try and recharge mentally, because it takes a lot to kind of to go through the grind and to get through it. I think, from an overall health standpoint, this was a great year for me. The low number of sacks. It was the first time in my career, I believe, that I went through without missing a practice and without being on the injury list once. So to be 37, to start every game, to not have any injuries was new and fun and exciting and makes you feel like you can play 4 or 5 more years. I mean, and not think twice about it. 6. So that's a really good feeling for sure. Obviously, the way that I play, that we played on offense, gives you a lot of hope and a lot of confidence. I think it'd be interesting to see what happens with every team around the league. If the salary cap does indeed come down to 175, it's going to put a strain on a lot of players who are making kind of good money. Not even great money, but just kind of good money. It's going to make teams have some really tough decisions.
Have you watched the film on the game yet? Will you watch the film?
Yeah, I'll watch it. I haven't seen it yet, though.
When will that be? Will that be sometime down the road, or will it be in the near future?
Yeah, I think 4:20 on Saturday, probably, p.m. Central Time.
Really get in there, so you can put yourself back in.
Really good, yeah.
Hey, you got your ass kicked, though. You got hit a lot, dude. I was worried about you out there. A lot of hits.
Yeah, there were a few. More. They got a good defense, man. They got a really good defense. They got a good front. They got a good scheme. They got good players at every level. They're a really good team.
Ty.
Hey.
Oh, I'm sorry, AJ.
Oh, no, I just wanted to go back to the game quickly. How'd you guys feel going in with your plan and everything? I was impressed by the Bucs D, not only the pressure they could get on, but I know you guys ran a similar little route with Devontae down in the red zone. They had it covered. They passed things off. I guess from what your plan was going in to how you executed it, how do you think you did?
Yeah, I thought the plan was good. The execution, it was pretty. I thought it was pretty good. I thought we were fairly efficient. What hurt us obviously was the turnovers. Both of them they turned into touchdowns. The one right at the end of the half, which was really disappointing, and then obviously the one coming out of the second half, which put us in a big hole. And we fought back and had a chance to. Had 2 drives in the fourth quarter there after interceptions, and it just missed a couple plays and had 2 3-and-outs, and that kind of put us in a difficult situation. But I felt the execution was good, especially a defense like that, which has been pretty formidable for most of the season. I thought they, didn't really bring as much zero pressure. Their whole goal was bringing edge pressure. They brought the nickel off the slot a bunch. They brought the safety or corner to the tight end side a good amount. And then when they had to, they played a lot of 2-man kind of in the fourth quarter, which was a good adjustment. We had some opportunities and just kind of missed on a few plays.
The conversation about the game outside, I know you haven't heard much of it, even though a lot of it was about you, is the 4th and goal situation where they kicked the field goal. And you had to talk about it afterwards, obviously, in that same press conference where you mentioned the emotions you had previously going into there, and you did the whole thing. You saw why Matt did what he did, but you weren't a part of that decision. Have you seen the conversation that revolves around it about how, hey, Tom Brady's on the other side. The guy has done that a lot in this situation. And have you and Matt talked about it? And whenever Matt makes a decision like that, is there ever a thought in your eyes to be like, no, keep it off? Because a lot of people want that. And by the way, if you do that and it doesn't work, you're the worst human of all time the next day. So, but that whole process, have you and Matt talked about it? Because there's a lot of speculation outside about how you should feel. And a lot of people think like, MVP, give the guy the damn ball with 8 yards.
Yeah, that's a difficult question because as a critic, you set yourself up for a win-win situation. Whatever happens, you can basically say, hey, if we say no, we're going for it and don't get it, and then we stop them after that, it's a terrible decision. If we kick the field goal, we stop them, they don't call the penalty on 3rd down, we get the ball back, we want to score a touchdown and win by 1 or 3. What an amazing decision that was. What a gutsy call. If we, hit the touchdown and get the 2-point conversion, it's the what if game. It's so easily set up again for critics to write the slant whatever they want to write. Look, in that situation, 1st and goal on the 8, I thought it was 4-down territory. On 4th down, when the guys were on the field for field goal, there's 5-6 guys on the field. There's not a whole lot to do there unless you call timeout. So, we just got to trust we're gonna stop them. I understand the thought that if you don't get it there, they're backed up, and either way you got to score a touchdown. So the 2-point conversion becomes, either a part of it or not. If we go 4 and 4th, throwing a completion, it's them 1st and 10 on the 8-yard line. Either way, we got to stop them, right? If you kick the field goal. If you stop them, they punt, we might get the ball at the 50. So we have a 50-yard field to go score a touchdown and get a 2-point conversion. So, I understand all the thought processes and those angles. As far as what I wanted, it didn't really matter at that point because I saw these guys run on the field. And unless I wanted to call timeout, I think.
Hey, that would have been awesome. Aaron, that would have been awesome. You turn up. No. How much time? No. That would have been the dramatic 47 million people watching that, by the way. It would have been awesome. The what if game, though, and if you score there and tie it up with 2 minutes left, what if they go down? You're 100% right, but there's a lot of thought behind, it's Aaron freaking Rodgers, dude. Give the guy the ball. Ty, what do you got?
Aaron, I don't have a question, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say in a really shitty year, I think I can speak on behalf of a lot of Packers fans. Thank you for, giving us something to look forward to, not only with coming on this show every week, but watching you play every Sunday. It was, it didn't end how we wanted to, but I'll look back on this season very fondly for the rest of my life. So appreciate it.
Yeah, boy. Woo!
Just count on Ty to always, bring it back home, man. I appreciate that. and I echo the sentiment right back. This has been, with all due respect to
he can say anything.
My weekly media responsibilities, this has been the best media stuff I get to do every week, and I just really look forward to the conversations, and it's really meant a lot to me. Pat, you and the boys, Age, puffing on your cigar. I think it's been fun to see, I think for people to see not just sides of my personality, but to hear AJ Hawk talk once in a while. And Pat, you and the boys do such a great job. And I meant what I said a long time ago about you guys being such a powerhouse in the sports media environment, and I'm just really happy to be associated with you guys.
Thank you, Aaron. That was all a bunch of bullshit. Know that we are very thankful you did this. Okay, you did us a massive favor, so we appreciate the hell out of you doing that. And the conversations have always been riveting. And I don't want to talk about the game on Sunday too much. What I would like to talk about, have you seen Ted Lasso yet? Like, that would be the perfect thing right now. I think that would be the perfect thing for you right now.
I did. I saw a preview.
Oh, no. Because you watch the preview and go, this is going to stink. Then you watch the first episode and you're like, wait, does this stink? Then you get to the second episode, you're like, there's no reason this is as good as it is. And then I think you'll be all in. I think you'll be all in on it.
Well, now is the time. So now is the time to figure out what shows to watch. A lot of people have been saying Queen's Gambit, though, so I'm not sure if that's a direction I should go.
Yes.
I guess there's a lot more chess nerds after this show, so
yeah,
that's probably a good thing.
Well, the thing that happens while you're in your season, like you're hibernating basically away while playing football and the world's doing a bunch of other things. These things come into our lives. We watch them. For instance, I watched Queen's Gambit. And I'm a big-time checkers guy. Always have been. Don't know why we're playing long-term. Let's just jump over whoever fucks in front of us and let's get kinged as quick as possible. Okay, I've always been a checkers guy. Never understood it. I watched Queen's Gambit. Whew, I bought a board. I bought some real life-size things that we could put in the office. And I'll tell you what, that lasted about 3-4 days. I'm fucking done with chess now. But you'll probably go through the same situation. It's unbelievable. That is also very, very good, yeah.
I already have a couple chessboards. So.
Oh, closed Sicilian, dude? Wait till I fucking get the pawns out there to battle it out. That's what I thought. What is?
I want to see you and Age go at it in chess. That'd be a good.
Be a quick game. I just knock over my guy. Fucking, I'm done with it. What is the off season? You travel normally, right? You're a big time travel guy. I don't know if you can do that this year. Go back to some house you bought that has been all over the market because you in LA because you got a house. You got a house out there. That's been a part of the conversation. What is the plans for you now? Long season, grind of a season. You got to accept an award via Zoom, I assume, here in a week or so. I mean, what is this? What does the off season look like?
Well, I'm going to extend an invite to Ty and his future bride to come out, maybe to have a nice little weekend at the Haas.
Out there in the booth.
I've been through so much trying to plan a wedding through COVID. It's just got to be crazy. Pat, you lucked out. You got in just in time.
I agree.
But no, I'd like to travel a little bit. I have no idea what the rules and regulations are going to be, so it might just be a more sedentary off season again. But I'll definitely take some time off, like on the lifting. Not saying I won't get in the power lift and do some squats. Again, that's an unpaid free advertising there.
Hey, that's an Iowa company. That's an Iowa company?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And Iron Grip. How do you say Iron Grip?
Iron Grip, yep. You got it.
But I'll definitely take some time to relax and just kind of recharge the old body, and then get back into it. As soon as I'm ready. And there's some events that are fun to. I don't know what's going to happen this year. Is the Kentucky Derby going to be on? Is Tahoe going to be on? Or some of these things that are fun. I mean, they already canceled Pebble Beach, the Pro-Am.
Oh, damn.
In California, but then they just reopened outdoor dining, so I don't know if that's going to be back on. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of what ifs, but I just know that it's going to be a good recharge, and then we'll start thinking about the next season.
Hey, when will you throw a football again?
Maybe end of July. No, there's some NFL guys out west that once everything winds up, I'm sure I'll see a few of those guys, and I'll definitely take about 6 weeks at least, and not throw.
You need somebody to run some routes out there? You know what I mean? You need somebody to run some routes. I'll put some gloves on out there. OBJ, if you need it.
I don't know. How's that knee doing, bro?
True. I'll do a stationary. That's very, 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 very true. We have to wrap up the season for a couple things. There's a couple outstanding things I've realized in the minutes in the notes section. You watched film from 2010 before the season. You saw something in film. You took it to practice. That next week in practice, it was training camp, and we got pictures of you just sending them out to everybody. How you doing? Deep ball. Keep it moving. How you doing? Bingo, there's another one. And that kind of led to this magical run that was this year for you, MVP season. What did you see in film? Has it already been discussed and you did it under like a little bit of a guise of just regular talk? What was in that film that you saw?
Well, I mean, I've loosely mentioned a lot of it over the year, but the key that I saw was just the rhythm in my hitch. And I was realizing the thing that I was working on back then so much was the sinking into the hitch at the top of my drop. And that was one area that I think was lacking based on my injury and some of the adjustments I had to make fundamentally to deal with a knee and a leg that just wasn't as strong as it used to be. And that's part of the reason why I really got back into squatting, was because I wanted to build that thing up so I could put a ton of weight and pressure into that knee and those legs, because the deeper I was sinking into my hitches, the more on time I was throwing the ball. And I really just saw how much of an emphasis I was doing that in 2010, 2009, 2011. And what that was allowing me to do was I was throwing the ball on time. And all these games I was watching, my timing was very, very good. I mean, I was literally the entire route tree and concepts, I was able to perfectly hitch to them. And that's why I felt like I was so accurate. So from that point forward, I literally, watched a few of those things, and the next day I went out and worked on them, and things just started clicking. And it was kind of a daily reset for me to just really feel into those feelings that I hadn't had. And I started realizing with confidence that the leg strength that I had 10 years ago was back. And again, a lot of it is due to the work that I did in the offseason with Tommy and with Ryan, and then with our guys in Green Bay, really getting under a squat bar, and then doing a lot of single leg proprioception stuff, balance stuff.
Oh, of course.
And I think all that stuff really just helped me to get that balance and rhythm back in the drop. And because of that, I played on time. The ball came out, and when the ball comes out on time, I've always been very accurate. This year, I set a personal, completion percentage record.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of it, again, I think is due to this little things I picked up on film, and then all the work I did, on my body.
What are you referring to? Just so we know. So you, hey, green eye, hey, boom, whenever you get to your, because you're known for extending plays. Like that's like the one thing is like, oh, when Aaron extends plays is when it gets really dangerous, especially with Devontae and everything like that. You're saying the on-time routine of the play kind of led to everything else. It kind of helped you out there?
I'm talking about fundamentally at the top of your drop. There's different quarterbacks have different ways of getting the ball out. For me, I've always tried to use the back of my drop to get momentum into throws, but it's also a timing mechanism because there's different types of hitches you can take. You can take short, quick ones. You can dig into it and have a longer one. And each fraction of a second allows your receiver to get to a spot where the ball can be thrown on time. And that's what I realized that I did really well in the old film and wasn't doing as well in some of the newer stuff, just because I didn't have that confidence and that trust that I could sink into my knee as much as I wanted to. And I just trusted it. I started trusting it again because I had done the work and I had been doing all these things to kind of build it back up, but still hadn't maybe transferred the trust onto the field and done the reps. And then once I did, things just started to really fall into place, and the timing and the balance especially really returned, and the accuracy kind of fell in line.
Let's keep that for next year. Let's keep that one in.
Keep doing their squats. But so you said can a lot at the line of scrimmage this past game, or got picked up, it seems like, more than others. I know Dane Orlovsky tweeted something about what he thought you were doing. Are you allowed to tell us what that means exactly?
I just got a text from Dan, by the way.
Dan Orlovsky?
Yeah.
Dane.
That's
Dane,
TV. That's
yeah.
TV Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, he's a big TV guy now, huh?
He's awesome. He is
Come
absolutely
a long way from UConn, in that Elite 11 camp where I met him. I'm a long, long way. I'm happy for him. He does a good job, and
I agree.
He brings some style to it, Brings some style to it. They get some good outfits. Maybe an ascot might be. A la C. Wood, huh?
So you're not going to tell us what can means?
Can is much like alert in other teams' offenses. It can mean adjustments to plays, and it also is used as a dummy, I'd say. That's what you have to do in the league now is you have to have dummy stuff. So there's dummy cans and dummy alerts, I'm sure. We used to do we used to call them alarms. But somebody has a word that can get you from run to pass or run to run or pass to run. And those are, ways of doing those things.
Scary Ninja. Let's talk about
Scary
it.
Ninja. Yep.
What is it?
I'm not telling that one. I like that.
Nobody says it. This thing must be very important. Scary Ninja. Must be very, very important.
Have you ever seen a Scary Ninja that wasn't important? Have you seen Operation Condor with Jackie Chan?
Probably. I mean, I don't know for sure. I mean, I was a Jackie Chan guy. Whenever they would air, after the credits, whenever you'd see how that's a badass dude there. I bet you he's squatting a lot, Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan's best movie, 3, 2, 1, go.
Rush Hour.
Which one?
All of them.
Like 3 of them.
just the entire thing. Who's your favorite actor of all time?
Steven Seagal.
Oh, yes.
Wow. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Keanu Reeves.
Hey, what's this one where he just kills everybody?
John Wick.
John Wick. What a badass movie that is, huh?
Yeah, he's amazing. I think he's one of the best character actors of all time.
Shane Falco did not fuck around. Did you take anything from his game into yours?
Yeah, just the flow. You saw me growing the hair out.
Yeah.
You were mocked on the internet. I don't know if you saw it because it was perfectly right down the middle when you took the helmet off. Are you going to continue to grow that thing or what?
I think at some point it's going to start really laying back on its own, and the middle part's going to go away. That's what the hope is.
They get a
Although as a kid, like I've said it before, I think on the show, I always wanted the middle part and the undercut.
I used to have that too with my blonde hair. Oh my God, we all had it. It was
Bleached?
awesome. Oh yeah, for sure. Come on.
Bleached tips?
Oh yeah. No, I bleached the whole thing, but then if you're not as, up to date with it, it becomes the tips. And everybody's like, oh, you got bleached tips. It was like, whoa, it was the whole fucking thing, but I got a little lazy. Can we get off my ass? You know what I mean?
You used to talk like that to your friends?
Yeah. Yeah, by the way. Yeah, I actually would.
How old were you when you drank your first Iron City?
Man, that's a teenager thing, very early teenager in Pittsburgh. It is so bad. I love the fact that you know what it is, but it is god-awful, that beer. I mean, I appreciate what they represent for the city, Iron City. And they got a mango now, I guess, that I assume that is very good from what I've been told. But yeah, there was plenty of evenings with Iron City Light.
Light?
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Not the heavy one.
What'd you guys do in Northern California? Did you guys just smoke that dope whenever you were in high school? Is that all you guys did? Is that all you guys did?
40s, bro.
Really?
Ooh. 40s were big in the early 2000s, yeah.
We learned a lot about where you were from because Tom's from here, you're from here. I didn't know you were that inland. I didn't know that you were inland up there in Northern Cal.
Yeah, it's the valley, bro.
AJ, go ahead.
I'm curious why Keanu is your favorite, guys. Because like the shots we see on the internet, him in the subway smoking heaters and just being a normal human.
I mean, that's part of it. I think if you watch a movie like Street Kings or 47 Ronin.
Oh yeah.
Or I mean, I don't know. Pick a movie that he's been in. You're going to see some unbelievable acting.
Speed.
And I think that's
the bus. The bus. That goddamn bus. They could not slow that thing down.
And then, for him, what's where he's a cop in the surfing movie?
Point Break. Johnny Utah.
Point Break. Thank you. Point Break. He said John Wick. Point Break.
Well, Johnny Utah's in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Utah. Yeah.
What about Philippi? You're not.
Probably.
Oh, Ryan Philippi. Let's close up some loose ends on the season here. How about Ryan Philippi?
What about him?
AJ?
You guys had that little, skirmish, and then it carried over onto the internet. Like, are you a fan of him still?
What skirmish do we have?
AJ?
For being Rain Man, your memory is not very good when it comes to things like this.
I think this is made up. That's why.
Ryan Phillippe alleged the same thing, by the way. I would like to let that be known. Ryan Phillippe did say that this was all made up.
What rumor did you make up, Age?
I didn't make up any rumor. I mentioned on the show a while back how you went
Okay.
up, and then he responded while the show was still happening.
You mentioned what?
Oh, that he punked you. AJ said that he punked you out at a celebrity event at one of those big events you guys have.
Oh yeah, was that when I was talking about the guy who big timed me at Tahoe, and you said it's Ryan Phillippe?
Yes. Yeah, that was exactly what it was. Because we were guessing the entire roster from that golf that particular year. That was on the putting green, right? Somebody stood you up?
Yeah, I would say a little more than stood me up, but let's move on.
Ooh. There's no way I can move on. Can't move on. Can't move on. What happened?
Do it for the brand.
Okay, I'll move on. Great shirt. Thank you for wearing that, by the way. Very nice of you. Aaron, you're the best, dude. Have you got your MVP speech already written?
I do.
Will you shoot that from the hip, or will that be...
Yeah, probably. I'm going to thank Ty. I don't know if I can have enough time to get to
It should be early, by the way.
Give Ty a shout out if I win. And then maybe Laura for dealing with AJ all the time. And my favorite hot kid, besides the other three, he knows who he is.
You just started an absolute war, I bet, in that hawk house.
There's three boys, so, just keep them guessing.
Will you make it like inspiring? Because I'm always intrigued by watching these award shows when people win awards. And especially this year.
I could take a cue from some of my favorite Hollywood people and just make it my own personal rant.
I won the MVP playing football, but this isn't about that.
Yeah.
Let me fucking tell you about. That's what those award things become sometimes. It's like, all right, I'm excited to see how they deliver here. I'm excited to see their message.
Nano robots.
Hey, have you studied Joaquin Phoenix and his acceptance speech a couple years back to see what you may do?
Those cows, that milk, it's unbelievable.
No, I didn't, but I'm worried because I was watching South Park one time, and one of my favorite episodes is about smug. And it's people in South Park start buying hybrid cars, and they get very smug, and they say "good for you" with their eyes closed all the time. And there's a big disaster coming because the smug from South Park it's like smog, but it's called smug, right? Is interacting with the smug from George Clooney's acceptance speech.
Yeah.
Some sort of atomic bomb. So I'm going to try and avoid too much smug coming off.
That's very nice of you. Hey, I think I've realized this year with the conversations, you do seem to be a rather normal human, which is very interesting, right? I assume for a lot of people to hear. AJ said, no, you are not a normal human. But how do you, I don't know, because all the stories about you before this year, to be honest, a lot of people, the way they believed is you were the smug king almost is what the thing about it. And then getting a chance to chat with you, it's like, well, that's not the case at all. How is that like something you have to focus on? I assume it gets hard whenever you're hanging out with, Scott Stapp is hanging Aaron Rodgers jerseys up in his goddamn office. That has to be pretty weird.
Well, look, I think that's an interesting thing to talk about. I think a lot of times, people have said things about me, and it's been the same few people, and that's been kind of the prevailing story or thing that's reflected on. I think for me, I talk a lot about the work I did on myself. It was nice, and it wasn't intentional. Like, I didn't sign the show to have and you guys know, we've talked about this off air, but there wasn't like some agenda doing this. It was like, fucking talk to Pat and AJ every week. Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome.
It has been, by the way.
It sounds amazing. But what it's allowed me to do is, I think, silence all the douchebags out there who were, talking for me, and either making themselves more relevant by using my name, or running with stories that were not really based in any type of fact. And look, I've grown as a person. I've said things and done things that I wish I'd handled a little better. But this was a great, natural, authentic, like, whatever, whether it was 15 minutes at the stadium or 45 minutes, to just, like, bullshit and have a conversation, and this is, if you're a friend of mine, if you know me, I think this is about as normal as interaction you're going to see from me. It's not a lot of BS. You're not going to hear cliches and garbage. I'm going to, shoot from the hip mostly, tell you as much as I feel comfortable telling. I feel like I've been as honest as I could be. I've told you guys a lot of fun stuff. That's fun for me because then I don't have to, like, maybe rehash it on a Wednesday, or people get to see a different side of you that maybe they didn't even know was there or didn't think was there. And it's been fun for me. I really have. I've appreciated every single week we've done these. And like I said, the best part is there was no agenda. There was no plan. I mean, even us, like, we didn't know we were going to go like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or an hour. Like, we just started fucking talking, right? And then this came out, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I want to let you know, we appreciate the hell, and I'm talking about not just us and me in the show, but also I think everybody that's watched. We appreciate you for allowing yourself to put your guard down and chat with us and allow a lot of people to learn about you. This year has been very cool. Ty said he'll remember it forever. I think a lot of us will, because of just how awesome it's been to kind of pick your brain a little bit. Now, you get a chance to go rest that thing. Hopefully your mustache will continue to grow because it's glorious. And I appreciate you, MVP. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers. Thank you, man.
Love you, 12.
Oh, he didn't hear it. He didn't hear it.
It's all right. It's all right.
He heard it. He did not hear it. He did not hear it.
Invited him to the booth.
That was unbelievable. I want to let everybody know how that happened. Yeah, he did. Actually, you're right.
Yeah.
He does love you. Very much so. 1:59 Eastern Standard Time. I get a text from Aaron. Yo. And I'm walking back to my office there, and I go, "You in?" ? He goes, "In." And then LFG. And then I respond, "Let's go." Then I walk in here, we're live. So whenever I was introducing that whole thing, AJ, I don't even think you knew. Did you at that point? Were you sure?
I didn't know.
Some people in here didn't even know. It was what a dude. Yeah. Obviously, he does answer the bell whenever something bad happens. Mm-hmm. That's what Aaron is. That's what we've learned he is, obviously. I think the world has learned this year. And I've been very grateful. I'm very thankful he popped in here. We had a lot of fucking people watching. I assume a lot of people listening. And I'm very thankful for that guy. Very, very thankful for that guy.
I'm sure it felt good, too, for him to kind of talk a little bit about, the whole situation. It's still so fresh, so raw. Like he said, the game just ended, and you have to come in here and talk for 45 minutes about it. It's got to be kind of tough to kind of process, I guess, all of that, everything that went into that, all the emotion.
And the way we're feeling about how he should feel towards LaFleur with the 4th and goal there, he's been around the NFL long enough, I'd assume, where he's like, there's a lot more situations we could talk about where if we would have done this and this and this, that's just kind of how the game is. And the NFL is a hindsight business. You run a fake and it works, you're a genius. You run a fake and it fails, you're the dumbest coach of all time, fire him. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's just a lot of different situations that can happen. I still am firmly in the camp. I would like to let everybody know, even after what Aaron said in that whole thing, I am firmly in the camp. Give the guy the fucking ball, okay?
Put the ball in 12
Why don't you give him the goddamn ball? We got 8 yards, okay? This is the biggest play. Take a timeout. Do what you got to do. Let's get the best play we got. We got the MVP here. Let's go ahead and do this thing.
I mean, it seems like Aaron's in that camp, too.
It did feel like he understands that is a potential idea. He explained all that. We have to get to a break, and then we'll wrap up the show on the other side. Can't thank you all enough for rocking with us. Big shout out to Aaron, dude. Hey, shout out to Aaron, dude.
Yeah, awesome.
Shout out to Aaron. I would not have done as much as I did that, in between.
Yeah.
If I knew that.
Had you known.
Had I known. Should have maybe come back down to earth a little bit. This is the Pat McAfee Show. We'll wrap up on the other side. We can't thank you enough.
Hi, how's it going? My name is Pat McAfee. Used to hold balls for Adam Vinatieri. Now I'm in his home state. College game day is absolutely electric. And Brookings,
College game day has made the voyage to Brookings, South Dakota to experience a game with the best fans in college football. I unfortunately cannot attend because I have a game this Sunday, so I sent a man I trust to make my picks. A man who was my holder for almost a decade. Please be nice to him. Welcome this week's celebrity guest picker, Pat McAfee.
Go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Hosting Auburn. Yes, everybody saw this. The best fake punt in the world. What do you think, Pat?
I absolutely loved it all the way up until execution time. That is not what we like to show in the brand headquarters and punting and kicking world.
Oh, dance off. Oh, let's get weird. Yes. Duck that, huh?
Bang! Right off the top of the dome. That makes it a lot easier when you got a dummy standing right in front of you like that.
Running. He's Daniel Russo.
Wax on, wax off, knee to the face.
Yes. Serious.
Go. Yes.
These teams stink. With that 15, they celebrate by doing shotguns. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm going with the University of Virginia Cavaliers. That was great. Whoa! And I will never, ever in the history of my life cut against that ball. Oklahoma State is a win here. It does not matter. Not so fast again.
But I'm going with Trey.
Please excuse my dumb friend Kirk. Look at this crowd. They've been out here since 4 a.m. College game day comes to town. They lose their mind. The population of this state is about 800,000. And when the Jackrabbits take the field, they're alongside all 800,000 South Dakotans. The Dakota marker was in Fargo for far too long. Today, 5 o'clock local time, the Dakota marker is back in beautiful Brookings, South Dakota. Terry School. They might be the Jackrabbits, but they're the GOATs today. Ladies and gentlemen, South Dakota State with the win.
Give me that place in.
No, don't do that. No. Leave.
Coach has the Pat says it'll be no.
I told you I came on your radio show that we were going to get you on College Game Day.
Not only are you incredibly intelligent and handsome, you're a man of your word. You picked North Dakota today, so I had to bury you.
That's okay.
But it's been nothing but incredible. The College Game Day crew is hospitable. In South Dakota State, I think we can all agree, they showed up here.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I've watched the show, obviously, forever. And it's on in every single NFL locker room. My coaches are.
Yeah,
so this is a big-time deal for me, my family, my friends.
All right, I'm back in the day here.
Appreciate you, boys.
It's from the training room of the Colts. AJ Watt tweeted.
It's very hard to process the human being on television.
I get texts from every human that I've ever done television with, like since way back in the day. They're like, we knew this day would come. Equipment managers, old teammates. I mean, you don't get to trend on Twitter often anymore. They make it damn near impossible. Go up onto a stage with a couple legends, talk some shit in front of the incredible South Dakota fans. What an awesome opportunity. Forgot to put a bumper in there. Welcome back to the show. For those listening on Sirius, we appreciate you so much, obviously. Chris Mad Dog Russo with Mad Dog Unleashed will be in about 10 minutes or so. But for those watching on YouTube, you're the absolute greatest. We had 67,000 people watching at one point. Can't thank you enough. Thank you. Obviously, Aaron, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nice. That's why, during it, I said, yeah, you're doing us a massive favor, pal. And he did. But since we got to that, I mean, it's only right that we have to give away some money. So we'll give away $20,000, obviously. Whoa! Use the hashtag thank you, Aaron, on Twitter. If you've been a part of our, Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays over the last season, you will be randomly selected by... We'll figure out who does it. Gumpy, Connor, I believe Zito's going to get involved.
It's a good time.
And we might up that to more money depending upon how this does. But Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays has been something that I have absolutely loved. I think we all have. Mm-hmm. And as there's no way any of us thought it was going to go the way it has. And here on the final one, 68,000 people watching. Got to give away some money in celebration. AJ Hawk said he'll give away some money as well.
Nice, AJ.
Very, very nice of AJ to do that.
Hey, out of that 20, why don't you give one person 10 grand of that and then spread the next 10 out to other people?
That's, that's normally how it operates. And mostly because it makes it a lot easier to give away whenever you have less people win, you know what I mean? So probably we'll have one $10,000 winner. Okay,
there we go.
Hey, there we go, AJ. That's 100% right. Oh, boy, AJ. Oh, AJ.
That's his 10 grand, right?
And then we'll have, then we'll have $2,500 winners.
Nice.
All right.
Okay. Because we did for the 25 grand one giveaway, we gave away 5 grand and then 21 grand.
Yeah, so we'll give away 10 grand, 2,500 winners.
Nice.
There we go. Here we go. Congrats to whoever wins. Use the hashtag Thank You Aaron on Twitter to enter. Maybe take a picture of where you're listening or watching at. We can't thank you enough. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest, dude. Woo! All right, let's wrap up the show. We got 1 minute. AJ, anything to say to the serious people as they get ready to listen to Chris Mad Dog Russo with Mad Dog Unleashed on Sirius XM?
Nope, I'm good.
No, you said that yesterday, and then we said AJ will say something tomorrow.
Yeah. Big.
We pushed it back a day.
Today's Tuesday. I think Wednesday will be my day.
Oh, shit. AJ Hawk Hype Wednesdays? Yeah! Oh! Let's go. We're going to have to start filling days now. We got our only real segment, Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays, done. So we're going to have to figure it out and be a real show. Thanks for rocking with us. If you're listening in your car or wherever the hell you are, work, I'm not 100% sure, in your truck, where in Canada or America or wherever the hell you are listening on Sirius XM, our show will continue to not be as good as other shows, but we will try our best to entertain your ear holes. A legend in the sports radio world, Chris Mad Dog Russo. His show will be next here on Channel 82 on Sirius XM. We have a countdown to kickoff celebration sponsored by FanDuel happening 2 hours before the Super Bowl. We'll have big guests, big conversation. That'll also be on SiriusXM and YouTube. We appreciate you so much. Chris Mad Dog Russo with a better show than this is on the other side. All right. I mean, that was a long extendo. Weird nice, commercial break. Had to do it. He's fucking awesome, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit surprised. Actually, I'm not surprised that he came on. I knew it would probably work out this way, where right before he would just call or text, like, hey, what are we doing the show? Like, what's up? Like, well, we didn't know. We thought so. We didn't hear anything.
Aaron, a lot of people were wondering, and by the way, good either way or whatever, but you did say yesterday, and I said trending towards, because you said, and you know him obviously much better than any of us, you said this feels like he's going to do it. You said it feels like this is something Aaron would do. It feels like. Now, but there was a lot of uncertainty, and I would not have held it against him either way. But him coming in and chit-chatting, I'm excited to see what they work on this offseason, the conversations he says he has every single offseason. I mean, there's going to be something that happens, and that mustache looked absolutely glorious. AJ, quick question.
What's up?
Matthew Stafford going to Indianapolis Colts, yeah?
I think that would be a beautiful fit.
Me too. Absolutely love it. The Bears are allegedly in the QB market. They want to be big players in there. Which quarterback you think ends up in Chicago? I'm going to say Sam Darnold.
Ooh. Deshaun Watson.
Whoa. Nobody has talked about Chicago and the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes because everybody's talking about the Jets. And if the Jets get Deshaun, then Sam Darnold, in my eyes, like, okay, he's going there. Has anybody talked about Deshaun to the Chicago Bears? Nobody.
I don't think so.
No, because Nagy and Pace don't like him because they didn't take him. They took Mitch, actually.
Skipped on.
Yeah, there's no way they bring him in. AJ, there's no way. Allegedly, the Patriots didn't match the offer that the Bills had for Stephon Diggs. Those were the two teams that were trying to trade with the Minnesota Vikings. The Patriots are trying to make a play. They have not had as many weapons as they needed in the past with Tom, and this year, obviously, with Cam, especially with Julian Edelman getting hurt halfway through the season. They were trying to make a play. Bill Belichick was in the market. Are they going to try to get a quarterback as well, AJ? A lot of people asking a lot of these questions now.
When it said, and Tom Brady saying goodbye to New England the next day, is he trying to infer that Tom Brady left because they didn't get Stephon Diggs?
Oh, yeah. That is very interesting because if that is how this tweet reads there, a look back at the blockbuster trade for Bills wide receiver Stephon Diggs, with the Patriots and Buffalo being the finalists, and Tom Brady saying goodbye to New England the next day. Oh, That is a little riveting.
Hell of a web.
Rappaport he even had the full 3 periods in a tweet, which normally you can't do because there's not enough room. That's why I only do 2. He did 3 with a space. Like he really wanted the dramatic pause there for everybody to know. And Tom Brady said goodbye the next day. So if they trade for Stephon Diggs, does Tom Brady go, you know what? I'll be Tommy fucking Foxborough with Stephon Diggs.
I forget when the Hopkins one was, but I think that's who he really wanted in New England was old DeAndre Hopkins.
And by the way, a lot of people probably wanted DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Except for the Texans.
Yeah. Interesting.
That Easterby guy still got a gig. Still moving up somehow. That's going to be a tough thing to handle. Mark Madden, Pittsburgh radio, legend and friend of the show, a guy that I've known, and Nick has known since teenagers, basically, in Pittsburgh. He's been on the air there. He got into a war with the Watt family over what information his sources have told him, and what TJ Watt is saying is not true from his sources. Mark Madden has doubled and tripled down on this with what his sources have said, and anybody that has watched our show or listened to our show knows Mark Madden. He is entrenched right now in war with the Watts, and I want to let you know this is not a war I will be jumping in alongside Mark Madden. This is not something I would join. And by the way, Mark Madden, completely okay with that. That guy has been a one-man army for a long, long time.
It's bold decision.
So I know he doubled down. You say he tripled down. Like, is he still sticking with it? Like,
yeah, because JJ said Mark right now with the scared gif. Not in the least. I know what happened. He was trending in the United States at one point because of this battle, and I could not have been obviously happier for Mark at the same time, knowing that this is. I mean, it was potentially yesterday one of his favorite times ever on the internet. And, I'm friends with the Watt family, I think. Not friends. I'm very cordial with the Watt family. And that is just not a family you want to get into.
No.
But Mark is in there, and he is not worried about it at all. Not worried about it one bit.
Hey, whenever Mark comes on here, he always pubs his Twitter account trying to get more followers. So, hey, man, you're trending in the United States. This is your time.
Oh, he said he
was bragging about it last night.
Yeah, he said, I have picked up more followers than I've lost through this whole thing. He's the best. I assume TJ and JJ and Derek do not believe that at this exact moment, but I think when they look back on it, they will enjoy the Mark Madden. I started getting tweets from people, by the way. Pat McAfee endorses this, blah, blah, blah. Whoa. I did not. I am not a part of this line. No, do not put me in the middle of this, okay? Okay?
The bees are one thing, but the Wasps, you do not want to stir up that.
No. You do not want to get involved with the wasp because the bee, they sting you once, they die.
Yeah.
That wasp will come on back.
Kill you.
Yeah. Come on back.
Hey, isn't it great, Pat, how if you're friends with somebody or you know somebody or you've talked with them on a public platform somewhere, and they say something, everyone assumes that you co-sign and you agree with their opinions.
That's like rap beefs back in the day. Like if you were even associated with somebody, you were potentially catching a bullet for something that somebody else said. I mean, that was what it was like. That is what it's like nowadays with the internet. No, not. By the way, a lot of it I watch and I'm like, yeah, the guy's been on my show. Like, he's good on my show, by the way. Yeah. I mean, what he said there, I'm not 100% on board with, but big fan. Him getting in the battle with the Watts, I was watching it unfold, and I was like, all right, here we go. It's going. And by the way, that's when Mark's at his best.
Yeah.
You need to get into his tweets and replies, too. Don't just look at his tweets part. Go to the tweets and replies, because he's going back at a lot of the Watt Wasps. Yeah. He's not scared. I mean, it is.
He is very comfortable laying Scunion in the trenches. Let's just say that.
Very comfortable. Yeah. That's his life. Yeah. The Ravens intend on paying Lamar Jackson for a long-term contract, keeping him around. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I thought there was going to be a question. I just wonder how much is it? Like, what's his average per year going to be?
35.
If you keep in the line of what the new contracts are, yeah. It has to be mid-30s yearly, but they can structure it in a fashion like Patrick Mahomes did with the long-term thing. But then you start getting lists of people like, who would you rather give a long-term deal to, and that whole thing. Lamar, I think, is only going to continue to get better, but there's a couple game situations that he gets in that he hasn't been able to execute. Who says that he won't be able to figure it out? Nobody, but the Baltimore Ravens say we think he will be able to.
Well, don't you think – so the Ravens – they're going to try to, they want to pay him, but they're going to try to protect themselves where they have an out in 2 or 3 years if it doesn't work out, because you look at a Carson Wentz and what it can do, or possible Jared Goff situation. So that'll be the battle with Lamar's agent and the team, like, how do we structure this thing?
Yeah, I'll be intrigued to see how it all plays out, because if the team really wants to set it up to build a team around him, they're going to want the guarantees to be in the back end. But then if you're worried about potential future, then you're going to want it in the front end. And that's going to be interesting to see how they play out. DeCosta's come out and said that he wants it to happen. Harbaugh said that he wants it to happen. It feels like everybody in that locker room loves Lamar. They want it to happen. Baltimore, and can't wait to see where he goes. Good for him getting the money. Jake Paul will fight Ben Askren. Your thoughts?
I like it. I think it's a good matchup for Jake Paul. I mean, Ben Askren was dominant over in 1FC for a long time, but he's strictly a wrestler. Like, he's not a striker, really. He can strike, and he's fought MMA for a long time, but he gets people down and holds them down. So Jake Paul's got some skills, man.
Hey, yeah. I mean, he knocked another dude fucking just out cold. You got to have some sort of. You got to have some. And he said he's been training for 3 years, and I feel like Jake Paul very committed to this.
Yeah.
Like very, very committed. And I know we talked to Michael Chandler earlier. Did you listen to our conversation with that guy?
I didn't get to see it. I want to see it because I saw his fight.
It's awesome. It is an awesome conversation. You're going to enjoy it. It seems like he's kind of indifferent about it. You know, I think the professional fighters are upset about the thought of their fight and their training and in their work being compared to what's going on with Jake and them. But as an outsider who's not a professional fighter, and there's a large majority of us that aren't, I think what Jake and everybody's doing for boxing is great for boxing. I don't even think it's a bad thing at all. And if he gets a win over Ben, the conversation the day after is going to be electrifying. It is going to be awesome.
I mean, I give credit to Ben Askren for taking the fight. Yeah, like you should be able to beat him. You've been a high-level MMA fighter for a long time, but what if you get knocked out? Like, you have everything to lose if you're Ben Askren.
Well, he's probably going to get paid more for this than he ever did for any UFC fight, right?
Yeah, so what is Triller, by the way?
Isn't that the fight organization or whatever that's doing all this stuff?
Well, the Triller, I think it's because it says Triller Fight Club.
Yeah,
that's the one that Tyson and Roy Jones fought on.
They
last
organized
time.
the last one.
Is it a platform or they're just a promotion?
It's a platform.
It's an app.
Yeah.
It's like a social video. I think it's kind of like TikTok. Don't come at me, TikTok nerds.
No,
but
it is. It's
oh boy.
It's supposed to be like American TikTok. You know how people think TikTok's spying on you?
It is.
They're trying to say this one's not spying on you. Triller claims like we're not taking all your info.
Everybody's spying on everybody at this point.
I mean, KGB.
But good for them being a quick, short-form video platform that also hosts entire fights. That's pretty impressive to be able to have the platform and the tech to be able to do both, I think. I don't know much about coding, but I do believe that's a pretty fucking impressive thing, especially with what ESPN Plus just went through the other night.
Triller also allows full tracks of music, while TikTok only has 15 seconds of music.
Triller, yeah.
Team Triller.
TikTok's
that's Trill,
dead.
dog. Triller's fresh out of Houston, right? And Trill's a big Houston thing, I think. Good for a bunch of whites in the room.
I bought the last one on pay-per-view, though. So how many?
Did Triller get the money?
I don't know.
No,
I mean, it was through my cable box, so I doubt it.
By the way, UFC needs to do it. Give me the fucking opportunity to do the thing. Give me the opportunity to do the thing.
Well, the last one was pay-per-view. I think it was just sponsored by Triller. I don't know if they carried it.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. All right. Good play. Good play, Triller. Hey, hey, Triller, by the way, if you ain't spying on me, I'll go and I'll go dance on the Triller.
Full tracks.
Because it's a Triller app. That's the show, dude. You're giving away 20,000. Use the hashtag thank you, Aaron. What a cool run. What's up, Z?
Training number 3.
Wow.
Oh, on Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Keep going, guys.
Yeah. Woo! Big $10,000 winner coming out of this thing because AJ Hawk said so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't that right, AJ?
That's right. I think I was thinking of the boys. Instead of having to shuffle through 85 names, they could pare it down a little bit.
I'm just getting in my ear here. We are now the #1 trend.
Oh,
wow.
In the entire Twitter. What the fuck is going on back here?
Thank you, Aaron.
What is going on? What is going on?
There's a chance something was showing. I thought.
No way.
I saw a desktop. I saw a desktop screensaver. So
Yeah, I did. Yeah. What happened over there?
What's going on?
What's going on back there behind the
I
glass?
think our group chat was shown, but luckily
Nothing back there.
I had the computer up. obviously for the graphic, and then Mansouri was switching over. So that it's happened a couple times on the show. I don't know if anything was shown though. We're gonna find out.
I don't know if anything was shown.
What are you talking? You guys are getting your rocks off to Sasha Banks because she's trending on the For You page.
Oh, really? Oh, really? So we're trending number one.
Number one.
What's going on with Sasha Banks?
I have no idea what the fuck just happened.
That's what you saw on the screen.
Hey, behind the goddamn glass, I will say there's a whole different world back there. Yeah. There's a lot of shit going on. AJ, have you? We are less than 7 feet away from these people. There's one thing of glass with windows, and it's an entirely different show going on back there. Wait, we appreciate what you guys do back there, obviously, but I do believe you guys potentially just got. Did something just happen?
Yeah, I just checked. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
It was just the picture that was on the trending page.
Sasha Banks is trending because today's her birthday.
Happy birthday, Sasha Banks.
We're just swapping over the show.
Birthday, Sasha.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Sasha. Happy birthday, Sasha.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Sasha.
This show's the worst. Hashtag thank you, Aaron. Number one trend on Twitter. We appreciate you all. Go be a part of it. Tweet hashtag thank you, Aaron, with a picture wherever the hell you are. We thank Aaron. We'll be back tomorrow. Rest in peace, Hank Aaron. And we will be.
Was that yesterday? 2 days ago? 3 days ago?
Yeah.
What's wrong, Ty?
Well, I just know you don't like having to do it, so I'm surprised that you brought him back up because we never want to have to remember someone after their death because we don't want anyone to die.
We don't want anybody to die.
No longer.
We were judging how I did my in memoriam for Hank Aaron the other day. So I did like a rest easy to Hank Aaron. You know, he passed away. And while doing it, I said, I hope to never have to do this again, you know? And then we all quickly realized, like, well.
But I probably will.
People will die.
That's inside. That's just for the studio there. Anyways, rest in peace, Hank Aaron, for real. And thank you, Aaron, for real. And let's have a great day. We'll see you manana. That's been the show.
Yeah.